Good evening, Clashers and Clashettes, coming to you live from NGE Studios here in beautiful Burbank, California. This is the official Supercell Clash Royale North American Opens. Representing Frozen Peak, I'm Christian.
And Builders Workshop, I'm Ella.
And tonight we are bringing you Coronation number 11. We are almost done here. So many champions have been crowned, just 6 more to go. And we have our top 8 playing for you guys here tonight.
Yeah, and over this tournament, hundreds of thousands of you guys at home have been playing in our open qualifiers to move on tonight's Like Tonight, the Coronation events. And from the Coronation events, 16 players will be making it to the arena battles, where 8 will then go on to the crown duels, and then 1 amazingly talented, awesome winner will take home $15,000 out of $100,000 prize pool in an awesome trip to Supercell headquarters.
That is right, and not only are they playing for that, but the 8 players that make it every single night here to the Coronation Nights, they're playing for something too. First place taking home $2,000, second place $500, third and fourth $300, and 5th through 8th $100 each. We want to emphasize to you guys, getting here to this, going past thousands of players, this is the cream of the crop. These guys are the top players right now in the Clash Royale scene. So if you guys want to get better at this game, stick around. We have some amazing games for you guys tonight. Yeah, get your notes down. We have amazing people. Before we get over to that and who we see the 8 are, a quick reminder of the rules here. At the Clash Royale North American Open, we run the standard tournament cap with the dual deck submission. That's very important. Each player will submit 2 unique decks to us. By unique, they are at least 4 cards different. To move on, it's very simple. You just gotta beat your opponent with both of your decks before they beat you with both of theirs, and there it is.
Yeah, no problem. Super easy.
$2,000, a chance to the arena battles where you get to see some amazing people, and then potentially $15,000, and then to Helsinki. Woo!
No big deal.
Now let's take a look at who those 8 players are tonight, battling for that $2,000 and the ticket. Up first, Lupanji.
We apologize.
I'm going to say Lupanji. Lupanji versus Chief Mystical.
Then we have Tag You're Pregnant, which who we've seen before, versus Popcorn, who we've also seen before.
Yeah, next we have Goat versus Sui Generis.
And then we have Darth Jar Jar versus Ash.
That's right, we have some returning, we've got some new, so let's go over to the couch where we are joined by the red and blue. On the red couch, it is host and creator of the Super Magical Cup, Rainy, as always, sir. Good to see you, good to see you.
Good to see you.
And I have creator, streamer, YouTuber, Rumham.
Everything.
I'm pretty sure last week she just said the rum ham.
Yeah. And then we got a really philosophical, that was Monday. Yeah, just a couple days ago.
Oh, it wasn't last week. It was
felt like it was a week ago.
But it was a lot has happened from that moment. So here we guys are, number 11. Some of the things to talk about here. I want to bring up Marcel P, the man who has been here the most, who's played so much. So let's talk about it.
I mean, last Coronation Day was some of the most epic matches I have ever seen. So Marcel P had a crazy series against Fetty Wap, and then EPRU had a crazy run, and the finals were so intense. EPRU actually, after further contacting him, could not actually make it scheduling-wise to the Coronation Day, but that means that Marcel P earns finally his opportunity to go to the arena battles.
We did it!
A little anticlimactic for the situation, but congrats.
I think a lot of people will be psyched because he's tried so hard and he's been such a consistent winner. I'm just glad to see that he's secured his spot in the arena battles. If he had gotten second place for all 16
up until the end.
5 appearances and only 10 coronation days, 3 finals out of those 5 appearances. So it's great to see him move on to the arena battles. Unfortunately, that means he can't compete in any more coronation days. So the tale of Marcel P comes to an end. But he's not alone. Several Reddit Alpha members have already made the arena battles, and we've got 2 more competing today. His good friend Darth Jar Jar and Popcorn, another member who's also been here. I believe this is Popcorn's 3rd top 8 himself, and Darth Jar Jar's 2nd. Yeah. So those are also repeat performers.
We have a lot of familiar names tonight.
5 repeat names.
I'm actually looking at Ash YouTube. Now, Ash YouTube made a great run the last time he was on the Coronation event. He got 2nd place, I think just barely losing to Swood, I believe it was. Yeah.
Swiggity
so I'm...
It's Wood. Yeah, it's like S Wood. We found out. I was calling it Swood the whole time. He contacted us later, like, "Hey, I'm a winner. Pronounce it right. It's Swood."
Swood. Sorry, Swood. All right, sorry, buddy. But yeah, 2nd place. Hopefully, Ash goes through this time and makes the win happen. There's so many names actually today in the top 8 that I kind of, am hoping that they make a win happen, but there can only be one.
That's right. At the end of the day, that is all there can be. Quickly, a reminder for the calendar here at the Clash Royale North American Open. We run Sunday, Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. For Sunday, Monday, and Wednesdays, it is 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On Thursdays, 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Only 2 more of those, and next Thursday is our 16th Coronation Day that's happening on the 17th. And that is when we're going to have our 16 champions who will then move on to those arena battles. So I can't believe we're already halfway done.
I know, and that means there are even less days to submit haikus.
That's so true.
Which is
what are we gonna
the best part, and make sure to send them. Start sending them now. Send them all. Just send them all.
Yeah.
575 syllables, not words.
Yeah, we know.
Hashtag CRNAO.
We know that you guys, some out there, are like getting these ready the night before. Probably you were like 50 drafted.
You're doing your homework.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's good.
And that's actually, you know what? Yeah, hopefully we're helping some people with their homework. Hopefully, like for their class tomorrow, they have like a haiku due.
Their teacher's just like, what is this?
Wow.
I'm using a lot of the stuff I learned in school, like basic addition.
Yes.
3 plus 4, that's a 7 elixir push, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks,
You
Miss
do that.
Stakowitz.
Even reading, just super.
Is that your kindergarten teacher?
Yep.
Exactly. Shout out to you. Hopefully you're watching and hopefully you're enjoying the show. If you're here, Miss Stakowitz.
Yeah, well, no,
Just say hi.
she passed away, but
She's here.
but let's talk about people who are still trucking in this world.
Okay. What a transition.
Rocking in the free world. We've only been gone for 1 day, and it seemed like the meta changed right under our feet. It is. The march continues on. Looking at this list, we're still very present with a lot of golems and giant boulders. Those still exist. But looking around, yeah, by all means, take a look here. What's your favorite? I know. Right. We've got 3 goblin barrels.
Wow.
3 musketeers.
Wow.
And a partridge in a pear tree, and
New
a card making its debut. A card making its first time debut tonight, but not in this match. So we'll pass it on.
Well, secrets. We'll hold off on that. Be surprised. But right now we have Lupanji versus Chief Mystical. Who do you guys think is going to take it? Let us know in chat.
Ice Golem plus Princess. Oh, the miner tries to go for the kill, but gets frozen up by the Ice Spirit. Will get it in the end. That's 3 elixir, worthy of that trade. Princess is one of the most annoying cards to deal with. Hog Log successfully launched. The minions do what they can, but in the end, the Hog Rider only gets a single swing.
I'd like to see how
now Chief Mystical has to deal with Lava Hound.
I'd love to see how Chief Mystical defends this, because in a lot of ways that looked like it was better for the Lava Hound player. To get a whole Lava Hound out and only take a little bit of damage on your tower is usually really good for the Lava Hound player. But we've seen Chief Mystical do some exceptional defense. This is his 3rd time in the top 8, member of Hammers Esports, and he has really impressed me with his absolute elite level defensive play.
Yeah. Alongside the fact that Chief Mystical is the only player so far to field 2 Hog Rider decks, and I think he's doing that again today.
Absolutely, he is. Chief Mystical has double Hog Rider. One is more of a Hog Lightning with Inferno Tower, which is what he's opened with. The other is that fast cycling Hog Fireball deck. Lupanji has the Lava Hound deck we're seeing right now, all air except for a miner, and his other deck, Miner Goblin Barrel, but wait, 3 musketeers as well.
Oh,
Pretty
man.
interesting little hybrid. Can't wait to see that deck if we get to.
Yay!
What a crazy turn of events. We could talk more about that. I have a lot of ideas as to why that might be the card of choice. But so far, Lupanji has a good hold on this game. I think executing a good minor minion horde push was key in allowing Lupanji to do a lot of damage. Like, here comes a counterattack from Chief Mystical and will lower that tower's health down a considerable amount. Had to use Miner on defense, means that this Miner will likely be taken down before it can tank for the lava pups that will pop.
Tanking for the Inferno Tower, though, is not too bad. That buys a little bit of time, and unfortunately, well, actually, great defense there to get the Ice Golem in front to prevent those minions from locking on, but still, the Miner plus Lava Pups do lock on, which are doing a huge amount of damage.
Man, the cycle was so fast, but actually, Lupanji manages to sneak a Hog Rider amongst all that chaos, and I think he's actually going to be able to take the Lava Pups. It's exactly like you said, Rumham. What am I watching? How did Chief Mystical get out of that situation relatively unscathed? He took the tower down.
Yeah, that looked like, it was a Lava Hound with minions and a Miner on the ground coming with it, and somehow Chief Mystical's the one who comes out ahead in the end. Pretty impressive. Oh, and that Inferno Tower is not going to lock onto the tower. Will he get it?
Oh!
Whoa.
But still, the counterattack, the relentless aggression that Chief Mystical is throwing out, may have lost the tower, but he's really caught up in tower health, lowered that right side tower down to 1602. However, he's not out of the woods yet. He's not in the clear. I think Lupanji is looking really dangerous right now.
The catch for Lupanji is going to be trying to commit a Lava Hound to the board. Anytime he casts Lava Hound, he's going down to 3 Elixir or worse. And that's the perfect opportunity to get a Hog Rider right in your face. So it's got to do everything possible to get that big, powerful tank out without selling the farm in the process.
Ooh, the Mega Minion narrowly avoids the Fireball. And actually, that situation turned out pretty well. Is there a log accompanying this Hog? And it seems like there is, but because the 2 towers are activated, the Hog Rider still cannot get a swing on the tower.
And Chief Mystical's got to work on his timing there. He's normally incredibly precise. That one was a little slow. You really need that log to land right at the same time as the first Hog Rider swing in order to make the most out of the timing.
Miner comes over to try to assassinate the princess and does so successfully, but it will quickly run out of health. An aggressive drop for the minion horde to help take down that Inferno Tower. Only 1 Mega Minion to defend, but it's a race. The Hog Rider is getting a lot of swings. Maybe one more. Oh no! But there's an Ice Golem. The Ice Golem might be the MVP of this match. It just saved that tower from falling. Aggressive drop. There's the lightning to take it down. Chief Mystical narrowly takes that. That is actually incredible. Chief Mystical is probably making his name in my eyes as the greatest Hog Rider player of our current time.
Well, if you remember, Backstab, when he came into the studio to visit with us as a very special guest, he mentioned Chief Mystical was his pick, along with Naruto Uzumaki from Hammers Esports to get one of the remaining spots. He said Chief Mystical might be the best player in Hammers Esports right now.
Wow.
Okay, well, we saw some impressive moves there. Speaking of Hog Rider, I have Hog Rider, but I don't have a log. What's another good way to kind of defend the Hog Rider for the people who aren't so lucky to have the amazing log card?
Yeah.
Log is almost hard to replace because what Log does, no, you're not out of the woods yet. It's okay, Al, it's okay. It's a little hard to replace because it does a few things. It both kills the remaining tombstone and kills all the skeletons. What you would have to do is in Arena 5 you get Zap, right? Zap costs the same as Log, casts just as fast. What you do is you wait for the Hog Rider to make that final hit on the tombstone and have the Zap ready to go. Zap the skeletons as soon as they come out. You'll prevent a lot of damage to the Hog Rider, and he can get all the way back.
Kind of good.
To the tower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
You also
deal with that,
have the option to fireball the tombstone first, and as the skeletons, let the skeletons walk away and get killed, and then send the Hog Rider in
I've been
right
using
afterwards.
lightning right now in my current deck. And sometimes I just get crushed because it's so expensive, and when I really need it, I'm just like, oh, I don't have any elixir. What do I do?
It's much tougher than it looks. It's much tougher than it looks to use lightning. I mean, when we see these guys playing in the Coronation days,
it looks so easy.
Every time they use lightning, it seems like, oh, that was a great lightning. And he's just getting tons of damage on the tower. But really, in actuality, it takes very careful consideration of what your opponent has dropped, what your opponent has in hand in terms of elixir. And then when you spend that lightning, you save yourself from being counterattacked. Something that we mentioned, Chief Mystical's defense, absolutely crazy. He can afford to spend something like lightning and then manage to defend a push after all.
Whoa.
Ouch.
Speaking of Zap.
Good opening, plus Zap can guard you from all them goblin barrels. Now let's not get too excited about Chief Mystical advancing just yet, because if you remember, his Hog Lightning deck was the better of his 2 decks. Every time he's been here, that deck has just dominated. He has struggled to close games out, though, with his faster Hog Cycle deck. So we'll see if he can pull it off this time. Log was so crucial to so many of his wins.
Here comes Hog, Ice Golem, and actually, Ella, that's another combo that you can go for. Ice Golem a little bit easier to get than Log, and actually very effective. There's the mind game.
Nice!
Oh, you got fake word! The Ice Golem is tanking, and look at how much damage these goblins are going to do. Ice Spirit finally jumps on, but that was beautiful. And now you have the addition of the Princess firing a volley. Well executed, Lupanji.
Chief
making
Mystical
the dream happen.
gives the well played. Unfortunate, we talked about how Chief Mystical's an elite defender. One of the things that makes you elite is never making mistakes on your placement. I think Lupanji played his princess a little too far up. The Mega Minion was getting close and about to kill the princess, and he had to zap it. Now that's 5 elixir to defend 3. 3 elixir that was already spent and kind of earned its value killing your attackers.
Ice Golem gets up to the tower and slows it down. Skeleton Army, but still the Hog Rider gets 1 swing. And now Chief Mystical has to figure out how to defend against the Skeleton Army. One zap, but he missed 3, and one of the skeletons peeled off.
Go!
There's just 1 hero skeleton. Oh, 275.
That was Skelly.
That was Frank. Frank is always the best.
Frankie.
Harry, Larry. They have all the names.
They all have the names.
They took out Ledoux.
That's true. The last one is always Ledoux.
Yeah.
Oh, the dude.
Oh, they stabbed. I wonder if Chief Mystical opted not to zap,
Yes.
instead holding for a counter push, sort of knowing that that tower's
Gone.
dead.
Yeah.
I mean, the last card in Lupanji's deck is Three Musketeers. He's opted not to play it just yet, but now that we're in double elixir time, we might see them come
Everybody
out.
wants to see them.
That
people
combo
on Twitter.
was
Watch
sick.
the middle. Watch the middle of Chief Mystical's yard.
Twine, twine, twine.
Oh! Good predictive play. Oh, and the fireball.
Oh, and the fireball.
Well, one's
Very
alive.
fantastic defense against the Three Musketeers.
Now remember, all players in the Clash Royale North American Open get to see their opponent's decks because of the Smash GG tournament setup that we use. We just want to make sure that everyone kind of knows what they're getting into, and that it also prevents fraud of people maybe playing the wrong deck or whatever. So both players know what they are, so the Goblin Barrel's not going to be a surprise. The Three Musketeers aren't going to be a surprise. That's why you saw that Tombstone come out in the middle preemptively to block for Three Musketeers. He knew that play was coming.
Oh no, where's the zap? The goblins are going to town on the tower. He has to fireball that right. So no, he zapped up with 6 health.
Whoa.
Do your math.
Oh my gosh,
No.
oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
No, no, no.
We'll make it.
But Three Musketeers is now on the table, and there's no way
Whoa.
for Chief Mystical to confidently remove them. And he only has 592 health left on that tower. He needs to zap this Goblin Barrel, but he also needs to deal with the Ice Golem, and now he needs to deal with the Skeleton Army. There's just so many troops. Ice
Fireball.
Golem will take down the Skeletons. Minder gets up to the tower. One Musketeer on the King Tower, and
Almost
finally
a
takes it
3
down.
crowns. Lupanji picking up game number 2, tying it 1-1. Going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen.
That was an awesome deck. I hope we get to see more of that in the future, although that requires Lupanji, I guess, pulling out the game 3 here. What's worth mentioning is Chief Mystical saw that tower was at 74, right? He should know, like I know, and if I know, then Chief Mystical knows, Zap does 67 damage at tournament cap, right? So he should have just fireballed it. Instead, he had to zap and fireball, spending 6 elixir.
Yeah.
He doesn't really need it. The downside there is he probably wanted to hold the fireball in case Three Musketeers come out, but he ended up having to use it anyways. I don't think that 2 elixir would have made the difference in the game, but you never know.
Yeah.
Little things.
Now you talk about how Chief Mystical has like such good defensive play. How do you play defensively when you really don't have any defensive? He only had Tombstone last time, right? He has Inferno Tower, which is it's a great defensive unit, right? It's a big health in front of your tower. You can take some shots. It takes down big health minions. What do you do if you don't have those big defensive? Is it possible to be defensive with just units instead of towers?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, don't underestimate the defensive power of nearly every card in Chief Mystical's deck not named Hog Rider.
Okay.
Ice Golem, Mega Minion, Ice Spirit, Archers, all of those are premium defensive cards, mostly because they're low cost, they block much higher elixir cost units well, and they're really hard to remove from spells. Cards that are vulnerable to spell removal are kind of iffy on defense. Like you try to play Goblins, for example, against the Hog Rider, your Goblins get zapped. Uh-oh. Yeah,
Sure.
right? So Archers can't be logged, zapped arrows. That's all true of Mega Minion 2, and Mega Minion can't be fireballed on top of that.
All right, so Lupanji and Chief Mystical, the next win. Take one of these 2 players to the semifinals. Who is it going to be?
Skeleton kisses.
Little dancing skeleton.
And boom. Hey, my friend.
Oh no! Hog Rider's too fast for them skeletons.
He doesn't have log, but the Hog Rider still gets a swing. And now he has to defend against Lava Hound.
And somehow that Mega Man at the river is avoiding the other tower, just standing like just as far out of range as humanly possible.
Oh, wow.
And slowly made his way over.
Let's see that.
Here comes the Miner to tank for the pups. The Archers do a pretty good job taking them down. The Zap actually hurt because now the Archer locked back onto the pups, but still significant damage done. And the Elixir does not reflect the cost of damaging the tower that it should.
See if another Tombstone comes out. It does to pull it away, but that supporting Archer really helps. Hog Rider only needs 1 swing to get rid of it, and the Zap takes its skeletons out.
Gets 2 swings.
Well played.
For her, we got
Like
spectators
they were
throwing confetti.
3 people on the edge of their seats.
And the crowd goes mild.
One thing I want to point out, that ice cube that floats in the middle.
Yeah.
I love how it knocks the other one out and then just cycles again.
Oh, yeah.
So well done.
Miner
looping gif.
defensively here is really not what you want to do, but we've seen Lupanji cycle the Miner for when he needs it to help against the for the Lava Pups. Still, though, a lot of damage done by the Hog Rider, and now the Mega Minion drop will do pretty good against the Lava Hound itself. Fireball, and these minions are getting distracted by the Ice Golem drop. There's no more troops on the board really left to defend this, and I think that's a tower to Lupanji.
I agree. The nice thing about, so you can't fireball Mega Minion, but Fireball puts Mega Minion to very, very low health. So as soon as that first minion started swinging on the Mega Minion, the Fireball comes out to finish it off as quickly as possible because you need those minions to lock onto the tower.
Wow, Minion Horde dropped on top of the Tombstone, absolutely decimates the Hog Rider, and now a whole bunch of minions. Where is your spell? He has to spend the Fireball, and I think that was actually very effective for Chief Mystical. Look for a big counterattack now. He's playing the Ice Spirit alongside the Hog Rider. The Ice Spirit's gonna jump on the Mega Minion, gets rid of the Tombstone. He's looking for the Zap. No, didn't use it. And now the Minion Horde will overrun.
Somewhat hard to predict, but I do think that if that Zap had hit the skeletons, it's possible the Hog Rider would have gotten that last swing off. I mean, those skeletons are doing hundreds of damage per second.
He's got one here. He's got to get one. Oh, just in time.
He's going to try to Fireball alongside his Hog Rider. There's a defensive Zap.
That's it. Lupanji showing up here against Chief Mystical, picking up game number 2. And he is our first semifinalist here at Coronation number 11. Congratulations.
Congrats.
I have to really agree with you, Seth, or Rumham, that
I answer to either.
He doesn't have a real name.
I really have to agree with Rumham. I think that Chief Mystical does struggle with his second deck. And I think that Fireball is a great spell, Zap as well, but I'm sure a lot of people might be shocked to hear this. I really think that you cannot replace Log with Zap in a Hog Rider deck.
Not in a Hog Rider deck. I mean, at least not when Tombstone is this played. I mean, just kind of scanning around Tombstone, 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 Tombstone. There's not a single player who's not running Tombstone in at least one of their decks. Yeah. And if you want your Hog Rider to consistently beat the double deck format, you probably need to duplicate Log, and maybe Chief Mystical can go back to the drawing board with his second deck and try to figure out how to substitute some other card out in order to retain Log duplicated in both. He's duplicating 4 cards already, so something has to give.
Right.
But yeah, this is two Coronation Days, maybe not in a row, but at least in consecutive appearances where the Hog Lightning deck has just dominated and the faster cycle deck can't quite get there.
Well, let's take a look at our first replay, seeing that Hog Rider action and Skeleton action.
Man, I really think that Lupanji had 2 very well-built decks. I mean, the first one was more of a standard Lava Hound deck with Minor Minion Horde as the second threat. The other deck that he brought, the 3 Musketeer Goblin Barrel deck, I think was very well designed. And it was a joy watching Lupanji operate these decks and be successful with them.
Yeah, we're always going to root for people bringing new and weird decks, and I definitely did not predict the Goblin Barrel 3 Musketeers combo.
Yeah.
But here we are.
There it is. Lupanji again moving on as our first semifinalist of the night. Chief Mystical.
Ooh.
Kobe. All right, up next, Tag Your Pregnant versus Popcorn. Both returning players, correct? We've had Tag Your Pregnant?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I know we've had Popcorn.
It hasn't been 9 months,
That's
but
such a
he's back.
forgettable name.
Wow, this is Trooper. Tag Your Pregnant Trooper. All right, what decks, what in their decks are kind of jumps out to you? Anything new or pretty standard?
Well, 3 out of the 4 decks. Here. 3 out of the 4 decks looking pretty standard. We've got we've actually got the identical Giant Baby Dragon, Golem Baby Dragon Lightning deck that is probably the #1 deck in the metagame right now.
Yep.
Tag Your Pregnant running Giant Bowler as the second option. Actually very similar to the one that we saw, I believe, EPRU run in the last Coronation Day. But Popcorn, Mr. Popcorn, has a Hog Rider Goblin Barrel Princess Minion Horde. Kind of like a Zap Bait deck, but with Mr. Hog Rider rolling around as well.
I like it, Zap Bait.
All right.
I like Hog Rider because we have the same beard.
Tag Your Pregnant versus Popcorn. Tag Your Pregnant versus representing me, myself, and I. Popcorn, Reddit Alpha.
Is he getting himself?
I think he's the only one in the clan.
That's amazing. Wow. Hey, solidarity.
All right.
Gotta love
Going
yourself.
over, going under, Giant versus Golem. We've seen players destroy Golem decks with Giant Bowler. Can Tag Your Pregnant do it? It seemed like the key in my eyes, there's a good Giant Log combo to take down the Tombstone. It seems in my eyes one of the keys in this matchup is getting multiple bowlers on the field.
That's something we've seen pioneered, I think, most recently by Lucifer, who won a more recent invitation to the arena battles, by basically trying to win this matchup as best as possible by keeping the bowlers on defense as long as humanly possible till you can cycle back to them. Having 2 bowlers is really difficult to deal with. We may not see it until double elixir time, but that's been pretty good. We also have seen out of this deck, one of the ways it can combat Bowler is by playing Giant at the river along with a Mega Minion as soon as those golems get dropped.
Ooh, this is a big push. The Mega Minion won out that air duel. That means the bowler runs free. Giant swinging at the tower. That's a lost tower for Popcorn. Done deal. No way he's letting that tower live.
And that shows the importance of very, very accurate placements. If you place that Mega Minion just a few tiles away, it gets its deploy time, it summons, they both walk up to each other and attack each other in exactly the same time, killing each other, right in the same swing. That's kind of what you want there. What you don't want is for the enemy that's already alive to attack you during the deploy time, because then it wins the mirror match.
It was a tough spot because actually the way that Tiger Pregnant's Giant and Bowler were positioned, it's hard to deploy the Mega Minion in a zone that doesn't just automatically lock onto either the Giant or the Bowler, and then you still lose that duel.
It's a great point. Put between a golem and a hard place.
So many dad jokes tonight.
Tiger Pregnant's getting me pregnant.
Oh,
Getting the dad jokes right into him.
All right, here's a log. Roll it down.
Oh boy, it's been crazy. All right, Musketeer is doing work in the middle.
All right, so that Mega Minion, I think even though that low health Musketeer looks like it should lose this fight, it's gonna probably shoot that Mega Minion down. Psych! Blockers coming the way.
Oh!
Death damage.
The baby dragon's burping.
Looks like just like that, nothing. Popcorn already given that good game. He knows it is over. Tag, you're pregnant. He's going to be picking up the first game of our round of 8, number 2, one step closer.
I'm actually really surprised at how that matchup has evolved, because initially we thought Giant Bowler had a bad matchup against Golem. The Golem decks seemed like in double elixir time they would overwhelm you. Like, even if you thought you had a big advantage early on, they would just crush you with these pushes. But all of the Giant Bowler players have modified their decks just a little bit here and there, and more importantly, modified their lines of play to be more aggressive against the Golem decks in the first 2 minutes of the game and really put a lot of pressure on them. And they're pulling it out more often than not now.
Well, again, we've been mainly seeing those Golem decks thrive in the overtime. So not even double elixir, it's like after double elixir goes through, overtime hits, and they just take the game away. So it seems like the key is to take down the Golem before you hit that overtime, and you're good.
I've been facing a lot of golems on the ladder. What do I do?
It's tough because it always kind of depends on what your deck is.
Well,
if you have a Hog Rider deck.
Yes.
So what I think you'd want to do is, as soon as you see that Golem come down, you're going the other lane. Like they call it the left lane Golem. You're going under their strategy by being as aggressive as possible. You could realistically drop up to 7, 8, 9 elixir into the other lane. It's worth it to go all in like that because you know they only have 2 to 3 elixir, and your Hog Rider's going to lock on and just
Okay, because usually I just panic and I'm like, I gotta kill it.
Here's the catch. If you try to defend too much, if you go, a Golem's coming.
That's when I die.
I'm just gonna play a Mega Minion behind my tower. I'm gonna put an Inferno tower down. I'm gonna put a Musketeer. You're playing right into what they want, which is a really good Lightning.
Oh, yeah.
You're right. So you kind of want to go down the other lane and take a tower from them and be like, you know what? Even if you take my tower, you're gonna have a really hard time now that we're in overtime or near the end of the game to get your second Golem down before I don't just take your other tower and win in overtime first.
All right, well, right now, Tiger Pregnant on his or her second deck here against
There it is.
Popcorn.
There it is. Oh, well, the first one is difficult because you don't know what your opponent's response is, but the Hog Rider still gets 2 swings. Goblin Barrel gets absolutely decimated.
Popcorn is doing the same thing we saw out of Lupanji in switching to his faster Goblin Barrel deck against the Golem player. He knows now that Tiger Pregnant is going to be playing Golem for the rest of the match because that's how the double deck format works. You must win with both of your decks in a match of 3, so he can predict his opponent's deck and chooses to take this Goblin Barrel deck as the more better matchup.
Looks like the Inferno Tower will be successful at taking that Golem down. Golemite runs to the middle of nowhere and ends up attacking the other tower. Princess lives through the whole thing, and that's really one of the big benefits of playing the Princess card. And especially in this case, Tiger Pregnant does not necessarily want to log it because that's why. The Goblin Barrel comes down and doesn't decide to play a mind game and just gets it logged again.
We kind of talked about the difficulty of mind gaming with a log versus a zap.
The log versus... For the zap, you need to be very precise, right? Because it's one shot in one area. The log covers a total larger amount of area, and it's actually because of the way the lane is shaped, that rectangular shape. If you play the log behind the tower far enough, you can pretty much cover all areas that the Goblin Barrel will be dropped. It's just a matter of timing at that point.
very fortunate that his Ice Golem happens to be going the same lane as the Skeleton Army. That way the Ice Golem is just going to blow up on him. Boop.
Wow.
Remember at the beginning of this all when we were like, oh, Christian, you use Skeleton Army?
Yeah, Supercell kind of pulled a rope-a-dope on that one.
Yeah, Supercell.
Maybe Christian was smart the whole time.
Yeah.
He knew it. He saw it coming.
I'm not gonna. No. I will not admit to that.
Now that's a great little pre-log there. Instead of waiting, the reason why you'd want to log early like that to kill the tombstone is because if the Hog Rider zigzags across the front yard towards the tombstone, that's just that much more time that the tower can shoot at it. You want that Hog Rider to move in a straight line towards the tower whenever possible.
Popcorn is controlling defense really, really well. He's really forcing Tag Your Pregnant to spend resources in inopportune moments, kind of threatening two options, right? Either you log the Goblin Barrel and have this princess live for the rest of the push, or you save the log for the princess and then take a ton of damage on your tower because the Goblin Barrel is out, as well as the fact that because Popcorn is cycling so quickly, he actually has multiple Inferno Towers that he can use against...
Oh no, that's it! That's the tower! An early log there, and Popcorn is going to take game number 2, tying it up 1-1.
Talk about double threat. Had to log because the princess was approaching. If the princess gets a single shot off, the combo of having the Hog Rider swing coming down means you lose anyways.
Yeah.
So he had to log the princess. Popcorn knew that, threw the Goblin Barrel already, and that's when you turn a check into a checkmate.
One of the things that we talked about earlier on in some of these Coronation days was having cards in your deck that do like multiple of the same thing, that have kind of a double value, they have the same value. It's also cool to see cards in your deck that will make your opponent do the same thing, like either bait out a zap or make a log, make him choose which one, and either way at the end, you get that value.
Yeah, baiting out specific cards is very powerful. If you happen to play, just for an example, if you happen to have 3 units that are great lightning targets, 1 unit that's a great arrow target, 1 unit that's a good zap target, a deck that has a lot of these spells is just going to feast on you because they're like, great, minion horde, arrow, musketeer and mega minion, all right, lightning, right? Like they're really happy about
great.
that. So what these decks try to do is play multiple cards: princess, minion horde, goblin barrel, and skeleton army, all of which are really interested in logging or zapping, but you only got 1 in the deck.
Yep.
So as soon as they can pull it out of your hand with one of those things, they know to immediately switch gears and try to put all the other ones down on the field, because those are very high value, high damage cards if you don't have one of the easy solutions to them.
So based on the decks that they now have to play, who are you calling?
I'm gonna go with the coin flip because it's a Golem Mirror.
Hey!
Okay.
The deadliest Golem Mirror. Now let's see if these two leak Elixir until the 1 minute double Elixir time.
Let's
see if they pull
let's see that again.
Well, we saw that, with Marcel P, and at first it seemed kind of silly, but I think it makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways. I mean, if you're a Golem deck, why would you ever commit something to the board when you could just sit back and let them play something, get a positive Elixir trade on it, and be happy? There's really no incentive for you to play early because you're so much better in double Elixir time. All that can really happen to you in single Elixir time is you lose a tower. So just sit there and stall as much as possible if you can.
Mega Minion, perfectly placed, does not get locked onto by the archers. Now the Baby Dragon will handle that. Archers in the back will try to take down the Baby Dragon, but it's a little bit tanky. Golem actually does make it to the tower, and that signifies that Popcorn was actually successful in this first Golem drop. And these archers in the back do a good job cleaning up supporting units.
I think that's enough to make the Mega Minion only threaten 1 tower attack, and it might even be 0.
Oh! So close.
And that just shows how Mega Minion can be really ineffective on offense. If you just cast minions at the river, they get to the tower and do a pretty good amount of damage if you don't answer
Mega
them.
Minion, so sad.
Yeah, all you need is really
one shot of anything.
100 damage onto it, and it's donezo.
All right, Golem plus Ice Golem. That tombstone is not long for this world. And now the Golem does make it and has a ton of health. That's probably going to be a lost tower. At least going to be put down to 1,100. And meanwhile for Popcorn, he still has to deal with the tombstone itself. And there's a ton of skeletons on it. The Baby Dragon gives 1 good spit, but 2 skeletons still remain.
Blue Baby Dragon arrived just a second too late. It meant to tank the other Baby Dragon so they would just sit there and duel while the archers picked it off, but instead, Red Baby Dragon targeted the blue archers and wiped them out very, very soon.
Push for Popcorn.
There's a ton of supporting troops left alive. The archer gets taken down by the log, but it's not enough. We'll take the tower anyways. This can largely be attributed by the fact that Popcorn actually played the first Golem and was able to take 2 attempts at the tower in the span of time that Tiger Pregnant really had only 1 attempt. I actually am curious if there was something Tiger Pregnant could have done better defensively to prevent the amount of damage that he took in that first push.
Yeah, it's really hard to say there. The Ice Golem is doing work for both players because if you can hold up the Archers or the Mega Minion just for a few seconds and let your versions of those cards tag on and do damage, you're going to win the whole push. The Golems are almost irrelevant, right? Like the real fight is happening behind them.
Yes. Golem makes it to the King Tower. Mega Minion is going to find himself in a bad spot. Gets taken down by both towers, but still this Golem is making big connection. And meanwhile, Tag Your Pregnant just cannot seem to find rhythm. His Golem pushes are constantly getting shut down. That one only doing 200 damage, and it seems like Popcorn has secured his spot. Moving on to the semifinals.
What a turnaround after losing game 1 to Mr. Pregnant.
Yeah, to Mr. Pregnant. And there you go, Popcorn, congratulations. You are moving on one step closer to $2,000. What? And
So awesome.
that trip to the Crown Duels, Tag Your Pregnant. Best of luck next time, but congratulations again, making it here, walking away with $100.
Yep.
That's a mountain of gems. Walking away with a mountain of gems.
That'd be great, huh?
A mountain of gems.
So you mentioned that, what did you say? Oh, that he might have gotten the advantage there because he played the first Golem. Should you try and just play the first Golem if you're in a mirror match? Or
So, in these Coronation days, we have had a lot of back and forth about, Marshall P, you don't play the first card, you just sit there and wait.
Right.
And then
Nice Marcel
Rumham,
Phoenix.
I do sound like that.
Rumham also spoke about, before the match started, how it makes sense to wait. And I think it does. I mean, you could say that one of the reasons Popcorn lost the first game against the Giant Bowler deck was because he committed Elixir to the early Golem, had it traded very, very efficiently, and ended up having to pay the price in a Giant, a Bowler, and a Mega Minion coming down his lane
Right.
with little to no Elixir to defend. He put down one Mega Minion, it got traded out, and that was the end of it, right? The Giant Bowler just took down his tower. This time around, though, Popcorn takes that same risk, plays the Golem first, but the defense on Tag Your Pregnant side was not quite good enough, and somehow Popcorn got 1,000 damage on the tower.
so much damage.
Maybe it makes sense in these Golem mirror matches because they don't have good defense for it. I mean, you really only have a Tombstone, Archers, Mega Minion. That's like really it. And a lot of that walks into Lightnings.
Yeah.
So it's possible that maybe controlling the tempo of the game by always having the first Golem down makes sense in Golem mirror matches, but not in
If Golem versus
Giant
whatever.
Bowler or
Right.
Something else.
everything else.
Okay.
Mr. Pregnant, I'm sorry. We'll see you later. Not today.
All right, let's take a look at the Goblin Barrel Rain.
See you
Your
later right now in the
favorite card.
replay.
Woo! He didn't actually have a log, so you had to play the Baby Dragon, which is quite a terrible card to stop a Goblin Barrel that is actually split up on 3/4 of the tower like that. And again, we see beautiful kind of double risk that Popcorn put onto Tag Your Pregnant. Really well played. I like that deck a lot.
2 Coronations in a row, we're going to have a Goblin Barrel mirror match in the semifinals.
Goblin Barrel, the new Expo? Question mark.
The new Expo, you should make YouTube
Oh
videos.
man.
That red baby dragon that you're seeing supporting that push, even though the one that just died, actually was one of those cards that, if you go back and rewind that whole push, made so much value. It killed it killed a set of archers. It killed another enemy baby dragon that was distracted, and that's the sort of thing you need to have happen in these tank on tank matches. Is if you can get just 1 or 2 backline units to really outperform.
Yeah.
They're going to wipe out all the defenses, catch up to the tank, and shred the tower.
I mean,
that's what happened there.
And that's all based on the placement, right? I mean, that's just like Popcorn knowing exactly which square, not too far up or not too far back, and that's something I think like really separates these pro players.
Patience. Like, you got to wait for the enemy stuff to lock onto your golem. I don't care if the Mega Minion swings on my golem. I want that to happen because it lets my Mega Minion kill your Mega Minion.
Yeah, so yeah, crazy timing with these guys. All right, let's pull up the brackets as we have our 2 first semifinals of Coronation number 11 here. It is Lupanji and Popcorn. So Chief Mystical and Tag Your Pregnant are out. Up next, Goat and Sui Generis coming up, and after that, Darth Jar Jar versus Ash. One final question I have, because I want to get this out. On that last one, Popcorn, after he took down a tower on the right side, he then decided to play a Golem immediately on the right side as well. He didn't put it on the left to go for the left side tower. Why did he do that?
That's a good question. In my mind, there's a good reason to do that because you can both assist your push better with the extended drop zone as well as defend a counter push that your opponent is going to employ against you because the weaker tower was the one that was in the extended drop zone. What this means, normally what makes a Golem push so dangerous is you play the Golem, it walks up, right when it gets on the bridge, you play another card really close to it behind it. You can only play things in front of the golem, and so they will only shoot the golem. But when you have the extended drop zone, you can actually place troops behind and go straight for the supporting troops.
Ah, that's a good point. Okay, there we go. That makes a lot more sense.
Well, haikus, send them. Yeah, duh.
Yeah,
Hashtag Clash NA Open.
Easy.
Do it right now.
Make it about tonight. Maybe potentially do one about. We had one about Rumham,
Yeah.
which is super gorgeous.
Somebody sent me one on Instagram too.
Okay.
About Rimham.
Okay. Wow. It was all about Rumham.
Yeah.
I'm really curious. What
Well,
was it?
then just keep doing about Rumham because we all love him because he's the best.
They like trolling me, so I guess I'm gonna have to.
It's not a
take
pure
it.
effect.
Make it easy.
Yeah, the Twitter known for its affections.
The internet, the most loving place in the world. All right, also, quick reminder, guys, if you are watching this on Facebook, go ahead and that share button. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and click subscribe. And if you're watching this on Twitch, go ahead and click that follow. Guys, you are amazing because we know you guys are doing it because you guys are the best. All right, up next, Goat versus Sui Generis. Goat's first time?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little arrogant to name himself that, greatest of all time. But that's. Here's the thing.
He's in the Goats
That's
clan.
brilliant.
Oh man, maybe he's also the only one in that clan. Heads up, Goat is running a Goblin Barrel Minor Skeleton Army, kind of a Zap Bait deck here in round 1, but his other deck, a Giant Lightning deck featuring a card debut,
Oh, no.
Barbs.
Yep.
We have barbarians?
It's weird to think about that because Barbs are sort of like the original, right? The OG sort of card. I
Yeah.
feel like it's one of the most like
Iconic one.
Yeah, one of the most iconic cards in the game, but it actually has not been played once in the entire Clash Royale North American Open Top 8 until
Welcome,
today.
barbarians.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Goat has to actually play the deck.
Oh, the graveyard comes out. It's a little bit early, but these skeletons are going to start adding up because that Mega Minion sure ain't helping. And it seems like 3, 4, 5 maybe, but there's no cards to really tank. Does a good amount of chip. Still, though.
A minute into the game, and all 4 towers got a little black eye on them. Pretty high energy opening.
A lot of split damage.
Princess having the time of her life.
Quick cough, Fidelli. You got me sick already.
I'm sorry.
Sore throat, and I'm blaming it on you because I don't want to take responsibility for my own sleep habits and eating patterns.
You think I want to be sick? You think this is what I want for my life?
Minor. Great amount of damage to that top right tower, bring it down to 966. And look at little confetti, just for maybe try to do a little more damage.
Which tower do you think is going to go down first? Let's call this.
All right, it's got to be bottom left.
Top right.
Yeah.
Top right.
Top right's the easy one. I think I'm going to go bottom right. I think it's going to surprise us all.
Okay. All
All
right.
right, here it comes. The dream.
The dream.
Oh,
He's going to defend
Dang
the
it.
top right one, so you got to catch one off guard.
Dream is
Oh,
crushed.
maybe that one skeleton will just lock on to the
Bottom left.
2024.
skeleton.
Bottom left.
Top right. Oh, he's got tanks for the graveyard. Here it comes.
Was
spooky
Rumham
day.
right?
Oh no!
It's good damage.
That
What?
situation changed really quickly. It looked good, and then the log came through, and then nothing looked good anymore.
No, it's unfortunately late for that fireball. If he could have cast it a little earlier, he might actually have, that tower would have gone down. The princess killed a whole lot of skeletons.
Wow, good
Okay,
fireball.
okay, maybe we're right.
It's within fireball range.
Yes, it is, but he needs to defend. If he doesn't defend, this could very well. No, you need to drop a tank. What are you doing? Oh my God.
Well,
All right.
Don't
He only got
prove us
one bowl.
looks like top right, maybe.
Oh no!
Oh my God!
He's going.
No, you're just kidding.
Oh, no.
Okay, he played the skeleton army. Thank God. I would have kicked
This
the
is like
table in
those
front of me.
Super Bowl prop bets right here.
Yeah, this is great. Bottom
Oh
left.
no!
Bottom
Come on.
left. Bottom
Fireball!
left.
Fireball!
Wait, where's she from the top?
No, I was
Right.
bottom left the whole time.
He was
I'm
bottom
not
left.
gonna lie. There it is.
Oh,
Top
All right,
right.
high five,
right.
Brady.
Goes down.
Yeah, high five.
Rainey and Ellie, you guys killing it. It looks like that is going to be Goat picking up the first game here against Sui Generis. One more game closer.
Downside of that of the graveyard there is that graveyard not only takes the initial cast time, but it takes about 1.5 seconds before skeletons start to spawn. So when you're down to these 5 seconds, 6 second
Oh,
left
that's
times,
a great point.
It's not actually that great because not only does it take a while to cast and take a while to summon, but it takes a while for the skeletons to spawn at a quick enough
Yeah.
rate to actually overwhelm the
That
tower.
makes sense.
So while he cast it as a desperation move, I think you could have not defended that and you still would have made it.
Yeah, they have to wait
So
for that
close.
beautiful music to cue up.
The interesting thing about Sui Generis, I believe it was, Sui Generis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many players. About Sui Generis' deck, actually, is he was using Graveyard without Golem, without
Ice
Miner,
Golem.
without Knight.
Yeah, he's like, I don't need the meta.
The only tank that he's using is Ice Golem and maybe the Bowler, which is interesting. It harkens like kind of a more defensive feel to me, but I think just somehow the Princess Goblin Barrel combo, which seems to be incredibly effective these days, the two of those cards seem to really take apart Sui Generis' defense.
Worth mentioning, Sui Generis' graveyard deck we just saw is the exact graveyard deck that I was pitching to you guys the other day, except with Bowler subbed in for Prince. So if you just take Bowler out and put Prince in, that's the deck I've been playing. Bowler, probably a better card. Prince, my favorite.
Bowler didn't win.
You gotta go with the favorite. So wait now. Are we gonna see Barbs now?
We're gonna see Barbs.
Hey!
Whole team of Vinny Barbarinos walking around.
See how it goes. Goat one more game away from taking this one to the semifinals. Let's see if he can do it. Sui Generis come back and tie it up.
Let's talk about what Barbs are actually good against. So in this, we're gonna see Bowler, we're gonna see Archers, we're gonna see Ice Gold. That's about the only cards in the deck that they're gonna directly fight in terms of troops, but Barbs, shockingly good at defending graveyards. Watch them.
Well, there we go.
Doink, doink, doink.
Dang.
Oh, the Fireball actually does really well, and it seems like
the skeleton killed him.
Yeah, the skeleton.
All right though.
Yeah, that wasn't bad at all.
I mean, that's 9 elixir just for the graveyard and the Fireball. So with Barbs defending, not too bad all around. Most of the damage done to that tower was kind of dealt by the Fireball.
Cheap.
Had to play the Ice Golem to prevent damage on this tower, but still, playing the Ice Golem earned him kind of an advantage in the first stage of the game, and they're about even on elixir. So I think Sui Generis should be pretty happy about that push, but I think that he might want to optimize his line of play a little bit.
Barbarians also are, if you don't, one of those cards, if you don't deal with them, they do a significant damage to the tower.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're balanced out by having medium movement speed. They're not very fast overall. But you're right. Like it's easy to think like, oh well, they're not. There's just 4 of them.
4 little guys.
But they're
ripped.
They will
they have
shred
swords.
a full health tower. Oh yeah. Christian likes them buff.
And with swords.
On-level Barbarians, if just played at the river and nothing else happens, will actually 5 elixir take down a tower from 100 to 0.
That's great, actually. The spawned skeletons of the Tombstone pulled the Mega Minion away from the tower and probably prevented a ton of damage to Goat's tower. That Mega Minion gets up there and swings even twice. That tower is almost in triple digits.
Yes. Mega Minion does a ton of damage. Those archers are looking at each other strange.
Near tie going into double elixir. The tower health is almost equal. The elixir is equal.
So who do you think has a better deck in double elixir?
It's interesting. Graveyard is a very expensive card, and trying to justify it by playing the Bowler and then the Graveyard is something that's more doable in double elixir time, but you also have to deal with the fact that now Barbarian Giant is also a much more playable elixir investment in double elixir as well.
I think the Bowler versus Barbs matchup is pretty brutal when all's said and done.
Poor guys.
Especially if he's going to stack up Bowlers like that, those Barbs don't have a hope. The best thing he can do with Barbs if he really wants to is surround the Bowler with it, but you got to be real accurate. Whoa, and he is!
Yeah, gets the surround. Graveyard will be tanked for by the Bowler for just a little bit. Archer's being added into the mix, and it looks like he's going to handle this Graveyard relatively well.
Got a lot of,
Boink.
Great fireball.
Wow, 2 Barbs, Archers, and the Tower, and the Ice Golem caught up with that. That might be the best fireball we see tonight.
Yeah. Right, now having to defend the left side, has an Inferno there that will convert from a previous defense.
Look like he's just going to go in there. Wow, Barbs are actually pretty good against Inferno Tower because there's 4 separate bodies, and as you mentioned, they do a lot of damage when they actually get up there.
Takes down the Inferno Tower, and this Bowler finds himself lost against that Mega Minion. Maybe Graveyard is a play here for Sui Generis. No, he's going to play the Bowler first and probably Graveyard on his next 5 elixir. He could go for the race, and I think he might. I think that's the right decision.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that 8 elixir was a little greedy. Like, I understand why you would do it because that's a good chance to win, but that left him elixir drained to guard against that huge push. Graveyard alone requires usually like 4 to 5 elixir and 2 cards
just to stop.
to not get completely overrun, and that's what happens. Sui Generis takes the game.
There it is, all tied up.
All tied up, Sui Generis.
So do you think the Barbs were brought in just for the Graveyard to take care of that, or did he see any other redeeming qualities in them?
Barbs are an answer to everyone playing Lightning. You're going to see in this next matchup, we're going to see Giant Lightning going up against the Golem deck. The Golem deck we're all familiar and love, right?
Interesting.
Now, other than Baby Dragon, everything in that deck is kind of again at killing Barbs. Barbs have a lot of hit points, so the Archers aren't going to do that much damage to him. The Barbs are going to surround that Golem and wreck it. It's completely thrash that golem.
Yeah.
So
the death
Okay.
damage isn't going to kill him, so that's
Right.
good.
And there's no, there's only lightning. What are you gonna do? Lightning 3 barbs?
That would be silly.
So now speaking of barbarians and speaking of lightning, it reminds me of when I run Barbarian Hut and it gets lightning and I'm really sad. Is that the reason we're not seeing a lot of spawners mainly because lightning is just so good right now and it could just take them all out?
Yes. I mean, that was true of poison as well. I mean, Randy
Yes.
can tell you about.
Hated it.
Poison was the most popular big spell for a long time, and it really hurt spawners. Lightning, same thing. If you drop a Goblin Hut, I don't think I even need another card out there to justify lightning the Goblin Hut.
Yeah.
And the
This is great for me. Good value.
Furnace, maybe anything else, like almost any Knight, Ice Golem, anything. You're like, sweet, that's
Bonus,
good. Yeah, happy.
So so I also want to think about these huts. We have the new card coming out tomorrow, Tornado.
Tornado, it'll be after tomorrow's broadcast.
Is Tornado going to rip up huts?
No, it doesn't affect buildings.
Okay.
And it says it's the first spell that does not affect buildings.
Okay.
Oh, worth mentioning though, Barbarian Hut's starting to come back.
Yeah.
Swear, true story. It's starting to come back because it's really good against golem decks.
So when they
you
play
it
Golem,
early,
you play your...
right? Because they have to play their support troops kind of early, and it's a slow progression of barbs for them to have to deal with. We're seeing it here, by the way. The golem comes down. Goat answers with that
the other
fast giant with the Mega Minion. There's only so much you can do about it.
Wow.
I think that might be a lost tower. Oh my god.
Wow.
20 seconds, done. Alriady, Sweet Generis almost. Is that a record?
Oh, here,
And there we
watch
go.
this.
And since the supporting units are in the left side to try to stop that push, there's nothing to clear these barbs out.
Oh my gosh. I need barbs.
Barbs, if all 4 of them swing on a unit, actually do more damage than a mini P.E.K.K.A.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for them. Barbs, you're just getting better and better.
Barbarians are like that story that you tell your children about teamwork.
Oh yeah,
Makes the
4 of
dream
them,
work?
yeah.
That's what Dan's Meemaw said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
4 of them working together, making things happen, even rivaling automation and machinery that is going to take our jobs. The mini P.E.K.K.A.
That's true. They're working on robots right now to cast Clash Royale.
Yeah. Esports robots.
Have better personality.
They're amazing. I got to
mean-
talk to a couple of them. They're great.
The TV show's out right now. Real.
All right, so now we talked about Goat. You know, what you do against Golem decks is you take a tower early, and that way when it goes to overtime, you've already won. So we'll see what Sweet Generis can do. What do you think is his best bet to take a tower and make this go to overtime?
Yeah.
He's really. I think, here's what you gotta do. If you can get a chance to drop that golem down right after you've seen the Mega Minion played and off the board, then you're at least less worried about the whole giant Mega Minion push. The problem, like the giant alone is a problem, but thankfully giant doesn't like kill anything. So if you put down whatever to defend with, it'll be good against giant. The problem is that when you try to defend, everything locks onto the giant, and watch big old Mega Minion here just kill it, just kill everything.
Oh, yeah.
The
Maybe
big
Dragon.
thing about getting it to double elixir as well is it's actually more difficult to punish with giant Mega Minion. Just because the Golem player will regenerate elixir much quicker and actually have requisite options to get to the Mega Minion and take that out, and also kite the giant around. So it could be a big opportunity for Sweet Generis to make a tower down, but with 15 seconds left and that Golem being shut down, that was kind of his...
That.
Get
Even with
wrecked.
And the giant in the middle is going to take all the towers here, so those barbs might be at full strength. Oh, psych. But even that,
Bye.
let's talk about how worthwhile even that was. You just forced your opponent to zap something that has already been
Done its
logged,
job.
golem
Yeah.
exploded
Yeah.
3 times,
Yep.
like,
Just
and they're
said
still
would
around.
be
There you go.
not a good
Congratulations there to Goat, the
Congrats.
greatest of all time, moving on against Sweet Generis into the semifinals. Just one more match remains. That is actually a really cool thing. So yeah, those barbs got logged, big Golem exploded, Golemites, all 2 of them exploded, and still they were alive.
Yep.
So very
And then you gotta
tanky.
zap them, and zapping
Yeah.
them near the archers that don't die to zap, right? So that was just that
Great.
forces a lot of expenditure out of your opponent to stop something that, kind of like Minion Horde, the whole time they're making their cost up with the attacks.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well, let's take a look at our first replay, Princess Minor.
Princess Minor, I mean, Princess itself, look how many shots this princess gets. Has to get taken down by a lone fireball, which, you know, usually when people drop princesses, they drop them behind the king tower, and then you kind of feel good about fireballing them as they cross the crown tower.
Right.
But when they're at the bridge, there's actually nothing else you can hit. Just fireballing the princess there is definitely a loss.
And here we're seeing that punish that was so good. as soon as the golem came down, immediately dropped 8 elixir in the other lane. So you're not even behind on elixir at that point. You're not overgrid. You're spending the same amount. Now, granted, you're kind of putting it into a punish fund. Like, I'm going to have to eat 8 elixir of a golem later, but in the meantime, let's see if I can take a tower, and then I don't have to worry about attacking the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And he pulled it off.
Yeah, again, just going into that defensive mode. And against a golem where they only have 60 seconds of double elixir, is that a pretty easy thing to defend against golem players?
An unsupported golem is dead meat. That's the easiest thing to kill. That's what happened. If you notice, when that golem came across, he just played barbs on it. That's a 5 for 8. Done, right?
Yeah. Wash my hands of that one.
Yeah.
All right, up next, our final round of 8 match.
Bye.
Bye, sweet generous. Darth Jar Jar versus Ash. So Ash, we've seen him multiple times. YouTuber, he's coming in here. Darth Jar Jar, Reddit Alpha.
Reddit Alpha. Actually, worth mentioning, both Hammers esports players got bumped in the top 8 round, which is super unfortunate because they have really strong performances. Yeah. And on the other hand, Popcorn of Reddit Alpha has advanced, and it looks like, well, I would say Darth Jar Jar looks like he might advance, but this is an all-star matchup. Ash versus Darth Jar Jar.
Is that Lumberjack?
Ugh. Ash versus Darth Jar Jar, look at that. Pretty good, pretty A+ performance here. These players could have met in the finals if they were on opposite sides of the bracket. Both are consistent, highly skilled players. Darth Jar Jar running a 4 Musketeer deck with...
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 3 Musketeers and a Musketeer.
Good old 4.
Along with Elixir Collector. And otherwise, we got 2 Golem decks and a Lava Hound.
Wow.
Ash running double Graveyard.
I was super pleased to see at the King's Cup when Darth Jar Jar showed up on stream that the influencers were talking about Darth Jar Jar and how he was the craziest 3 Musketeer player. I'm so glad to see that kind of convert from the Super Magical Cup into kind of more mainstream.
Oh, there's Lumberjack defending. So good.
I mean, Darth Jar Jar is without a doubt probably the foremost thought leader on 3 Musketeer decks in the game today. I mean, I don't know if he invented the archetype, but he certainly has carried it on longer and more loyally than almost any other player.
Lumberjack is so fast. Look at him. He's had too much coffee in the morning.
All right.
Go Archers. Choo, 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 choo.
Still, a great defense there for Ash.
Yeah, for sure. He got away with a pristine tower. Can't argue with that. So this is the Golem deck out of Darth Jar Jar. This is the variant that we've kind of seen that replaces Baby Dragon for Lumberjack.
Okay. I like it.
Lumberjack is very, very good against enemy tank decks, certainly because it does so much single target damage. And then it can run at very fast move speed. Lumberjack moves just as fast as a Hog Rider, and it can run up to the tower and threaten it, and also clean up these skeletons pretty effectively.
Now right there where the 2 golems were passing each other, is this where we saw Ash place that tombstone down? If the red golem would have pushed the blue over to the left, would he have ignored that? Because we saw that once, right? Is that the push that happened?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly where the tombstone was positioned, but if it is too much to the right side and the golem comes down at the right edge of that bridge, then yes, the golem could actually ignore that tombstone.
Fast Archer.
So far, Darth Jar Jar has been getting the short end of the stick for these exchanges, and it really, I think, hurts because somehow the tombstone for Ash has been much more effective. I think the timing has just been a little bit better. We'll see if that's the case this time around.
There's been a lot better placement, I think, by Ash. I think Ash is very familiar with this deck. We've seen already a few times, like even right there, that Mega Minion's dead. Blue Mega Minion, that was an unfortunate play for Darth Jar Jar. That's, I think, the 2nd or 3rd time that's happened in these exchanges where the Ash has just been a little bit better about getting his placements, his micro down for this matchup, and being able to run away with it. But this Lumberjack might take it down. We saw Shades of Clyde.
Oh, there's just one more hit.
Okay, so if that is Zappering.
But I think the Golem is going to do it.
Golem Zap.
Ah, you did it. No.
Zap it. Just zap it. You got,
There it is.
All right, so now we're going into overtime, it looks like.
Fortunately for Darth Jar Jar, he should be able to stabilize here.
King
Tower is pretty healthy. And he's going to take down the tanks, and these archers are really going to do good work against the
go for the 3 crown.
The skeletons, but I think that's kind of what Darth Jar Jar wanted. He wanted to use the extra health on the King Tower to stabilize after committing so much elixir to try to make sure that tower was down before overtime.
I think, I agree. I think that Ash, I get why he would do that, but Darth Jar Jar benefited because he basically could take 2,000 damage on the King Tower, and now it's what, just as hard to kill as a Crown Tower? Like, how much does that really matter in this matchup?
Yes. Momentum still definitely seemingly on Ash's side, and I think that Darth Jar Jar is going to have to work hard to make sure he gets a good chance, a good foothold in this game, and this might be the opportunity. No Golem on the field for Ash, a bunch of supporting troops that can be traded out very efficiently, and this might be a big counter push for Darth Jar Jar. Let's see how effective this Golem drop is.
Imagine if Lumberjack dropped poison. Whew. You could choose what spell Lumberjack drops. That would be sweet.
That, or if they just made a new troop like an alchemist.
Yeah!
Wouldn't that be cool? Right? That
That'd be
whole
sweet.
little poison jar on his belt, and when he dies, poison.
Or it's oh,
So please.
Alchemist, Arsonist.
All, for all the ones?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Lumberjack, he was getting hit by the central tower, but decides to run out of the range. And now, this rage could be really valuable if he dies in the graveyard.
Hold on.
Golemite's doing it!
It's at 68.
He can zap it, right?
That's 67.
67.
Oh, wow.
got a
One
lightning.
HP.
There it
Oh,
is.
there it is. Darth Jar Jar, 2 crowns into overtime, picking up the first game between, like you said, Roman, these are like 2 amazing players clashing against each other.
The game's not over until the clock hit 0. It looked like Ash was going to win that game when he took the first tower, and especially when that last push, when that Lumberjack died, with the tower still just barely alive, and then the Golemite was like crawling over with the rage, and then it dies. There's 23 health left on the tower. He's got to zap it, which is kind of like wasted elixir, right? It's 2 elixir just to finish the tower up.
Yeah.
Somehow managed to pull it off, defend, and we get the honor of seeing a 4 Musketeer deck.
Yay!
Got to figure out whether he wants to stick with Golem Graveyard or switch to Lava Hound Graveyard.
So how is he going to play that 4 Musketeers deck? What is the strategy there?
Well, the one thing that he's going to do that you're not going to see a lot of top players do, Darth Jar Jar is one of the last elite players to stick with his good old Elixir Collector. So I would expect in this deck to see Elixir Collector and a lot of defense for it.
Okay.
Now, there's not really a lot of like minor, he's not going to see a minor in this matchup, but he might see something like a Graveyard come at the Elixir Collector.
Okay.
If he can defend it well, he builds up an Elixir advantage, lets you attack into him. Musketeer is one of the best defensive ranged attackers because he can't be fireballed, etc. So it sits back, defends, shoots, and if you ever drop something like a Giant or a Golem or a Lava Hound coming across, 3 Musketeers are happy to shoot it down.
And now 3 Musketeers, because when you play them, it's more expensive than a Golem, right? It's 9.
Yeah, most expensive card in the game. 9
elixirs. So now it's just kind of like, are there ways that a Golem deck could then now go under a 3 Musketeer deck, or is it just because they're fast moving and fast attacking?
Because the Golem deck is really slow, not really.
Okay.
Because here's the idea about the concept of going under means that while they have a low elixir count, while they're vulnerable, you've got to hit them. Well, if you go to 2 elixir and then I play even a River Golem, you're gonna have like 5 by the time that River Golem even reaches you. It's just not that good. But there you go, we see that classic trade of the giant Mega Minion at the river.
This might be tower again.
And I think that's the best play you can make against a Golem deck early on. Darth Jar Jar was very lucky that he had it in his opening hand, and that's probably why he plays Giant in this 3 Musketeer deck, is because it gives him that option.
Wow.
Okay.
Lightning? Oh, he doesn't have the elixir for it. Ash doesn't have the elixir to lightning them.
Oh.
3 Musketeers making short work of that Golem, but it has gotten a good amount of swings on, and only 1 or only 2 of the 3 Musketeers remain now. Pretty big counter push, but 1 tower down means that the game situation still definitely favors Darth Jar Jar.
There is no lightning in this deck.
No.
There's no.
That'd be so great.
There's no lightning in this deck. He's running Zap and Log in order to reduce the cost of his deck so that his graveyard can be played. But oh no, it looks like that's really hurting him. Darth Jar Jar can play these 3 Musketeers with impunity. They were even placed really well. It's worth mentioning that in that bottom area behind the King Tower, between the King Tower and the Crown Tower, is a really good place to play it, because even if you do have lightning, how can you lay it down and actually have it hit the Musketeers? Because it targets the highest health thing around, and it's inclined to hit the King Tower, the Crown Tower, and not actually wipe the Musketeers off the board.
Yeah, again, Elixir Collector, no lightning. Cool, great. So let's just get some value from that.
But there's 10 elixir worth of tankiness coming down the river.
Right, Golem, Ice Golem. That's a combo that has actually proven to be very effective. I think it's going to be tough for Darth Jar Jar to defend. It's hard for him to justify waiting and deploying 3 Musketeers for defense, and I think that might be what he tries to do here. He does, but he's going to lose a tower for it.
But that counterattack is going to be brutal.
Yes.
4 Musketeers already on the board.
And look at how much elixir Darth Jar Jar has in the pocket.
Right. And that's the thing, is everyone kind of forgot about this Elixir Collector card. It turns out it's still really good.
Still great.
It lets you control the tempo of the game, so all these other decks.
Look at that melt.
No, they're 5
5 Musketeers!
Wow.
No, Musketeers Golem save! Ice Golem
What in the world is this?
Okay.
Darth Jar Jar has the only of Musketeers.
The dream is real.
This is insane.
This is what Twitter has been asking for.
Seven Musketeers.
Oh, man. Giant just swinging away. The Musketeers going for the archers. That looks like that's going to be the game. The swing. Darth Jar Jar gets 2 crowns. 10 seconds for Ash to take a tower. It looks like that's not going to happen. And Darth Jar Jar finishing with style here in our final game of the round of 8, pushing him to the semifinals.
Interesting, because I would have to question that second 3 Musketeer drop. Definitely not the ideal play, but
that was
do it anyway. Do it
That's the and one right there. That's the dribbling behind your back and then shooting it.
But get this, right? He played those 3 Musketeers. They got dunked. He got the tower anyways. That's how. Yeah. That's how much momentum.
How could have Ash defended that? Like what
he probably, Lava Hound's pretty weak against 3 Musketeers, but if he would have switched to the Lava Hound deck, he would have had tools like Fireball in order to actually combat it a little easier. That was just kind of a tough matchup. We talked about, preparing for the meta decks and stuff. I bet you Ash's decks are really good against other Golem decks, against Giant Bowler decks. No one was preparing for 3 Musketeers.
Not the 18 Musketeer deck.
Yeah. Right. True story, I actually had a challenge for anyone, if anyone could get 7 Musketeers out in a real, actual tournament game, I'd give them $10, a one-time bet. And the first person to claim it was Marcel P.
Oh,
really? True story.
Yeah, I saw that.
Remember that? Marcel P was the first to claim it. Darth Jar Jar does it in the highest stakes game, right? The Clash Royale North America.
For everyone to see. Congratulations. That is going down in style. All right, let's go into our replay of that amazing, amazing match.
All right, let's take an in-depth look. I've been thinking about the Lumberjack a lot, and this save is absolutely crazy from Darth Jar Jar. In a super key moment in the game, he somehow gets his Lumberjack up to the tower. Now, I want to hold the replay for a moment here. Let's hold and take a look at this situation. We have the Golem and a Lumberjack on the bridge, and they're just about positioned to go for that tombstone. The log is actually well placed, enough so that it will actually roll over that first tombstone and take it down. The important part to look at here is when the skeletons and that log clears through the tombstone, as well as the skeletons that will pop afterwards, the second tombstone is actually too far to attract the Lumberjack. Roll the replay. We'll see what happens from here on out. Watch the log come in, take down all the skeletons. The Golem goes for the second tombstone, but the Lumberjack actually makes it to the tower. Big lightning strike on all 3 of those units. The tower, the Ice Golem, and the Mega Minion itself, and he does an insane amount of damage so quick. And finally, once that Golem is done dealing with the tombstone, the Golemite actually reaches out, gets 1 swing, gets a death damage, and that's enough for Ash to close it out. All right, let's go back to the top of this replay and take a look at this again in real time. Now, remember to pay attention to the fact that this Golem coming around, normally the Golem and the Lumberjack will go to both of those tombstones, but the fact that all the units were cleared out before the Golem was too far down the road means that the closest tower to him was actually the Crown Tower, and he gets up and does a ton of damage.
Another thing to keep an eye on is that River Golem prevented Ash from having the extra elixir needed to maybe block the Golemite, kill the Lumberjack, anything like that. River Golem is a big commitment, and it didn't 3-crown the tower.
We also talked about how right after that, kind of the aggression that Ash played against the King Tower kind of maybe allowed him to come back, stabilize, and then actually have that fight to push the win.
Ash, unfortunately eliminated in the top 8 round. I think with Marcel P earning his ticket to the arena battles, Ash might be our highest profile, most consistent, highest skilled player that is yet to stamp a ticket. This is, I believe, his 3rd or actually maybe even 4th top 8 performance. He's been here multiple times, and he's usually only fallen to other very elite, well-known players. So Ash, you're out today. We've got at least 4 more qualifications to go. Come on back soon.
You gotta win them all. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the bracket now, as we have our semi-finalists here. Up first, when you guys come back from the break, it's gonna be Lupanji versus Popcorn, and then Goat versus Darth Jar Jar. All right, guys, so far, just in your mind, fresh highlights for me. And I'm going to go ahead and steal that 7 Musketeers, because that's all I can think about right now.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's just like a firing line. Oh, so good.
Just
7 Musketeers is a lot. I really enjoyed watching the Goblin Barrel decks play out. There were interesting ones that were, I thought that people were going to play Goblin Barrel and they were going to kind of replicate the minor Inferno Tower Goblin Barrel cycle. But it seems like people were already beginning to innovate, throwing 3 Musketeers in their Goblin Barrel deck, playing Hog Rider in their Goblin Barrel deck, and really those are very, very different decks, right? It's not really that similar to a minor Inferno cycle.
Yeah, the meta the beat goes on, brother.
Continues to
Check it
change.
out. 8 decks, only one that you would say is like, oh, the
meta
Golem Baby
deck.
Dragon deck that we've seen a million times.
Yeah.
Darth Jar Jar's running I guess a Lumberjack variant, but other than that, it's all very different original stuff. So
I love
this
it.
is
Yeah.
I love it.
can't keep
great.
a single deck down for too long.
No.
Yeah, let us know on Twitter what your favorite deck is so far tonight. Hashtag ClashNA Open. I'd be really curious to know.
Yeah.
I mean,
what
those
deck are you guys
Musketeers,
running
I
on the
can't-
ladder? What do you guys not like running up against? Maybe if you let us know, these two amazing gentlemen can give you tips and tricks on how to conquer those dreaded decks. For me, it's any lightning. Just if you guys have lightning, don't run lightning.
Don't play
anymore.
Christian.
Yeah, don't run lightning. All right, guys, we're gonna go to a quick break, but when we come back, our first matchup between Lupanji versus Popcorn. Don't go anywhere.
Oh.
7.
These are the rules of the duel. All duels must have appropriately epic music.
Crash Royale! Pick a fight with everyone! Crash Royale! It's got lightning and skeletons! Duel players in real time! Destroy towers in real time!
While your troops take a stand, now you've got the upper hand. Destroy the king with the ground and crash!
Royale!
That was a rule of the duel, a most ridiculous duel. Clash Royale. These are the rules of the duel. Anything goes in the arena, and anything goes inside the goblin hunt. Anything. A most ridiculous duel. Clash Royale. These are the rules of the duel. The grass in the arena must be properly cut. It's a full-time job. That was the rule of the duel. A most ridiculous duel. Clash Royale. These are the rules of the duel. The winner takes the loser's trophies. And their dignity. That was a rule of the duel. A most ridiculous duel. Clash Royale.
Welcome back, Clashers and Clashettes, to the official Supercell Clash Royale North American Open. We are in our semifinals now, and things have been crazy. We just saw like an 22 Musketeer deck. It's been great.
I mean, I don't know if we would have predicted that we were going to see 2 different 3 Musketeer decks, 2 different Goblin Barrel decks, and of course, actually, there are 3 Goblin Barrel decks in the top 4.
So crazy. Where did Christian go?
I'm in the haiku corner.
What?
Oh, we have a corner now for that?
Yeah. So before the break, we guys actually sent in our haikus. So we got this sweet haiku corner for you. And today we've got Dex Max 1 sending in his haiku. So let's go ahead and read that for you. Beware of the prince. Your tower will soon be dead. From my charging prince. Spot on, Dex Max. Well done.
Fabulous.
Hey,
good.
Prince, another card we haven't seen yet.
The Prince is yet to make his Clash Royale North American Open debut, which makes me feel dumb for playing him in every deck.
No,
That's fine.
You had a suggestion for a Prince deck too. Nobody's used it.
Sui Generis made it to the top 8 with the same deck with Bowler instead, so maybe I should be bowling.
Yeah.
Well, somebody could try a Prince and it could work too.
All right, so like you guys said, we are in the semifinal. Let's go ahead and pull up the bracket. If you guys are now just tuning in, as a quick little reminder for where we are and who we should be looking out for. Up on top, it is Lupanji versus Popcorn, and then Goat versus Darth Jar Jar. All right, Rumham Rainey, so far as the night has been going on, who are you giving that just ever so slight advantage to?
I'll just have to say the last Coronation Day, I got all my predictions 100% right for the
What?
semifinals.
You did. So this is you kind of like stepping it up. So can you do it again? Can you do it twice?
I'm gonna say,
Really thinking about this.
I'm gonna say that Popcorn's gonna move to the finals against Darth Jar Jar.
Okay.
Ugh, this is hard.
I'm gonna write that down and hold you to it.
1, 2, 3. We already have like 5 Reddit clan members going to the arena battles. If we
So
have
you're
another
calling-
finals, that's pretty gross. I mean, that's pretty insane.
They're gonna have like a majority rule.
I'm gonna take a risk and say Darth Jar Jar is gonna win the whole thing.
Okay.
This is risky because 3 Musketeers, in many ways, like Expo, is such a kind of
Hit
a
or miss?
Yes, it's a very risky drop.
Okay.
If he does that, he might have to go against 2 separate lightning decks to get there.
Yeah.
But first off, we have Lupanji and Popcorn.
Yeah.
Goblin Barrel, potentially Mirror. Which of these 4 decks jumps out to you the most, Rainey?
I actually think that, to me, the 3 Musketeer Goblin Barrel deck is probably the most devastating. I can also see a situation where he plays. So the thing about playing Lightning against 3 Musketeer is you gain value because you hit 2 of the Musketeers and you hit the tower. But if you're putting your 2 Musketeers down a lane that is kind of the healthier lane, the more irrelevant lane, then essentially it's still just a 6 for 6, right? You're still just trading 6 elixir for 6 elixir of the 3 Musketeers, 2 of the 3, right? So in that situation, once you're down that elixir, I can see potentially getting Goblin Barreled or getting Minor Goblin Barreled or getting Minor Somethinged to be a really dangerous follow-up where now you don't have a lot of elixir to deal with it, and you have a Musketeer coming down the same lane as well.
Key matchup is going to be Popcorn needs to get his Hog Rider Goblin Barrel deck against the Lava Hound deck. That's his best chance to win. I don't really think the Hog Rider Goblin Barrel deck can beat the 3 Musketeer Minor Goblin Barrel deck. It's pretty gross.
Okay.
So I think he's much rather going to play against a Lava Hound deck where none of these things are on the ground. There's only Tombstone, which he has a log for, and when the Lava Hound comes down, that Hog Rider can run in and get value. So if that can happen, he's going to be in pretty good shape.
So we're already seeing a Goblin Barrel. Our first match of the semifinals, Popcorn versus Lupanji. Let us know who you think's gonna take it in chat.
Ad Astra is what Lupanji is representing. Haven't seen them?
I've not seen them. I like the star though.
That is a very underused symbol. We see a lot of the red sword and the king hats and things like that. Not a lot of stars. So here's where we're going to see an important matchup.
What a risk. Wow, he's just going to... I think the Ice Golem is going to protect one of them.
Oh, great counterplay by Popcorn there to line it up so it didn't hit the tower and it focused on 2 Musketeers and the Ice Golem. The Ice Golem is in there to absorb one of those lightning shots. Oh, okay. And I actually thought it was going to hit Tower, Ice Golem, 1 Musketeer, leaving 2 behind. But Popcorn was ready for that oddball play.
Mind game.
Oh, it worked! I think this is the first mind game that that we've seen actually juke a log from Goblin Barrel. Well done, Lupanji.
Look at how much damage that did.
Popcorn respects the play, too.
Yeah.
So what happened there's that 3-cost elixir Goblin Barrel, not only did it dodge the log, but it pretty much killed the archers as well while doing damage to the tower. That's really versatile for 3 elixir.
You need to be one with understanding where the log comes across the bridge. You can kind of tell where it's gonna land. You at least know that something is fishy.
Yeah. You at least know it's not going right onto the tower if you've seen enough Goblin Barrels.
Yeah. You've seen enough Goblin Barrels in your life.
Goblin Barrel, like
Become one with the Goblin Barrel.
like real life bowling, should throw it harder. Throw it as hard as you can behind the tower. Oh no!
So now there is a reason why Ad Astra is running that stars. My ancient knowledge of Latin, it means to the stars. Ad Astra is Latin for to the stars. So there we go.
That's why we have you on the show, buddy.
Yeah, just
to translate Latin.
Of my ancient knowledge.
Comes up sometimes. Let's see if we can drop another ice golem.
Yes.
And once again, great aim. I have no idea how Popcorn is aiming those so well because it looks like the edge of that circle would theoretically like kind of brush the tower, but it's just not doing it.
Still, though, the Golem and Ice Golem make it to the tower doing immense amounts of damage, and I think that this is a tough situation for Lupanji. I like the idea, I like the ingenuity of playing the Ice Golem with your 3 Musketeers, but he still has to own up to the fact that a Golem is coming down the lane.
Ooh, it looks like there's the zap comes in.
Man, this is so back and forth and so much damage. Minder's zap itself is already a huge damage, burst of damage.
No!
Oh!
That could be an opening for Lupanji to steal this game.
All right, here we go. Miner going in. We're going to hit
the lightning,
5 seconds. We're going to hit overtime.
The zap.
One more swing. Can he do it? Will Popcorn be able to take it? No! 86 health. Lupanji gives him a thumbs up, and that is going to be game 1 in the semifinals, going over to Of the Stars.
Lupanji, okay, it's a little early, but he's so far won all 3 games in that, like, by the clock, sliding under the temple door, grabbing his hat right before it goes out. You know, like every single game thing, he can't keep getting away with it. He might get away with it all the way to a Coronation Day title, but he's got 2 more games to go, and now he's got to take his Lava Hound deck up against either the Hog Rider Goblin Barrel or the Golem deck.
So would you bring your Hog Rider against this Lava? Because it's a lot quicker. You're going to go,
and also because you have things like Princess, that if you have Princess on defense and then the Princess comes up to cover your Hog Rider, it's a lot harder for you to be like, no, let's play Minion Horde against the Hog Rider, because the Hog Rider still might get some swings and the Princess cleans it up kind of for free before locking on the tower.
Does he have Zap in the deck as well?
Log.
He has Log.
But there is a Tombstone, so he's going to get those really good Hog Logs.
Hog Logs.
Loggy Hoggies.
One thing about Tombstone, the placement against Hog Rider, because when I run it, I've noticed that if you put it directly in front of your tower, like on the path, the Hog Rider will go up, he'll get his 2 swings, and then the actual skeleton's bodies themselves will block the Hog from even getting to it. Why don't we see people doing that? Why do we see him pulling him to the center? Is it just so if it does get zapped, then it has a further journey to go?
Yeah, because you're getting extra King Tower shots as it walks in a diagonal angle, and if you can place the Tombstone far enough in the center, the other tower will attack it as well. You actually watch this. You're going to see 2 towers hitting this one. So you're getting extra tower shots, and the skeletons, the closest ones, do get
a couple hits.
Yeah. Not great.
All right, well, Lupanji,
So
one
many
more game
tiers.
away from going to the finals. Let's see if he can take it. Or will Popcorn tie it up 1-1?
Tough defense. Tough defense to pull off, and I think Popcorn didn't quite have the cards in hand. Has to spend the Minion Horde, and he's gonna have to work hard to get tempo back.
Well, they're not bad. Only the 3-cost minions in order to defend against that 5-cost minion horde. What happened there was the Mega Minion was actually being targeted by the tower. When he zapped the Skeleton Army and hit the tower, the Skeleton Army or the tower retargeted onto the much closer Miner, leaving the Mega Minion at half health and threatening the tower. That was a really good play, but then he was left without zap on the counterattack. Let's see if he can do it again.
Ooh, nice positioning on the Miner.
Oh, and they killed the Ice Spirit.
Positioning on the Miner was so key, and that really is kind of the first player I saw to do that was actually
damage.
Oh my god.
Damage. Wow.
He keeps getting away with it. Lupanji, yeah. So what happened? Okay.
How's my play-by-play?
Great. So you good call, Rainey, by the way. Yeah, that Miner in the front was not an accident. If he wanted to make sure that the closest possible thing to any defending placed unit was the Miner, so they'd lock onto that as opposed to the Minion Horde. If the Miner had gone, say, back left corner, that Princess could have locked onto that swarm, and that attack would have done significantly less damage.
Well played.
Lupanji is playing well informed right now, and I think that for being a player that I have not really heard of, and from a clan that I haven't really heard of either, Lupanji is really impressing.
I'd like to hear more.
Yes.
Oh, and the Ice Spirit even takes that.
Oh.
He has 1 minute.
Leave him! Leave him! Leave him!
Oh,
No, don't run after him! Oh.
Popcorn has 1 minute to make something happen, and so far defense on Lupanji's side has been convincing.
Oh, Fireball. Wow, on the Princess.
Yep. And that's only a -1 elixir trade, but you get some critical damage onto the tower. I might be wrong. Maybe this deck was not that good of a matchup. I genuinely
He
thought
hasn't played the
it would
Lava
be-
Hound at all. He's
That's a
playing
good
it miner style.
Oh, that's actually a really good adaptation because, again, they know each other's decks. So it's possible that he knew the only way he was going to lose this game was by committing a Lava Hound and getting punished for it.
Interesting.
So instead he plays more like a minor cycle deck that just only has 7 cards in it.
23 seconds is all Popcorn has to take down a tower. If he does not, that is going to be Lupanji going to the finals.
Ooh, Princess might do a lot of damage as well. That miner is going to make sure that the tower comes down, but the Mega Minion actually tanks it up. There's only 10 seconds left, has to launch the Hog Rider now, and I don't think Popcorn can do it. And Rainy gets dunked.
There
Popcorn
it is.
out.
Ow.
Popcorn going down. 2 more seconds. There's nothing that he can do. Lupanji 2-0ing Popcorn in the semifinals and moving on. Just one more match away from $2,000. You gotta be feeling good.
Yeah.
Lupanji played really well.
This is Popcorn's 4th appearance? 3rd appearance?
I think
Something like that.
3rd or 4th. I mean, again, it's hard to keep all the Reddit Alpha guys straight because it seems like we don't have a single Coronation Day that goes
Where they're
by
not in
without
it.
some member
Yeah.
of the clan here. Excellent work. Unfortunately, doesn't move on. We're not going to see our umpteenth Reddit Alpha Duel Finals, but Popcorn walks away with $300. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Okay, well, let's throw to our first replay. I think we got some Goblin Barrel mind games going on here.
Yeah, well
Look at
placed
this,
on
look
the
at
Goblin
this.
Barrel, just a little too
So
high.
good.
So the two things about log is that if you squeeze it back to the very, very edge of your drop zone, you can clear out all the space in front of the tower and just be really, really safe. But it just takes a little bit longer to do, and the goblins might get a stab.
Yeah, it's worth
stab
mentioning
down.
he hit the Musketeer, and that was good because eventually you got to shoot the Musketeer down. If that has full health, it's going to do a lot more damage.
Yeah, well, there we go. Again, congratulations to Lupanji. And the question is, up next, who is going to be joining him? Will it be Goat or will it be Darth Jar Jar? So, Darth Jar Jar, seen him multiple times. Goat, first time.
First time, and I don't even really know him from the wider competitive scene. Greatest of all time, weird. I hope that's what it stands for, but I think it just might be
Just
the animal.
just the animal.
Yeah, just the animal.
What does the sound a
sticking with
goat
that.
makes? I keep thinking of a sheep.
That's a sheep.
It's
Is it a sheep?
Is it
No,
similar?
no, you're right. It is because it's the
That's a good one.
video.
Christian had a better one. For the first time, you've got the best impression of the night.
no,
I'm thinking of that Taylor Swift like meme video.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of
That's
too.
it.
Okay.
That's
They
basically it.
literally scream.
Clearly, we've never seen a goat.
Here in Burbank, not many goats here running around the studios, but hopefully
Nope.
that'll all change. So let's pull up the decks now between our next semifinals here. Again, one of these two will be moving on to the finals. It's going to be Goat. It's going to be Darth Jar Jar. Player to watch. It looks like Darth Jar Jar. Bringing that, again, Elixir Collector. We got the Lumberjack and then the 3 Musketeers.
A thing to watch is that we haven't seen a ton of miners out in the field before, but we're seeing a lot of miners tonight. It's going to be very hard for Darth Jar Jar to defend that Elixir Collector against an aggressive, fast miner deck like Goat's second deck, or first deck on the screen. It just kind of depends on how the matchups go. So far, I've been really, really impressed by his play with the 4, 7, 8, 9, 10 Musketeer deck, but he showed some
pretty cool.
flaws in his Golem play that maybe Goat can exploit, especially because Goat has those excellent Barbarians that
Yes.
we've already
Oh.
seen be very good against Golem.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie, I'm
How
excited
key
for
do you think
that.
those are going to be against this matchup?
I think
Are they-
barbarians
are
are
they
going to
gonna
be.
like, yeah, that's MVP.
Barbarians are going to be really, really important, especially because just like Mega Minion and Minion Horde, Barbarians are kind of A+ defensive cards, right? When you play cards on defense, their mobility oftentimes is not a consideration.
Sure.
They just are,
Damage,
right?
right.
When the card comes across, you play them on top of the card, they just start swinging, they start working away. And that's really what gives Barbarians their value. Each one of them swinging once is already more than a mini P.E.K.K.A. swing, and so each of them swinging over and over and over again is a lot of damage that, how do you remove that, right?
Darth Jar Jar is opening with his Golem deck. Goat is opening with his Giant Barbarians deck, so we can see the Golem versus Barbarians matchup. But even on top of that, when he goes to his other deck, Barbs are amazing against Giant, and even if Darth Jar Jar splits his Musketeers, dropping Barbs on top of 2 Musketeers is an Elixir positive trade.
Ooh, punishing the Golem drop with Giant Mega Minion. Does Darth Jar Jar have the cards in hand to stop this push? And I think the answer might be no. Lets the tower tank a few shots to make sure his Mega Minion will win out that trade, but gets lightninged out anyways. And now the two building chasers are going to go for Darth Jar Jar's King Tower. Lumberjack is the assisting card of choice, and I don't know if Darth Jar Jar has cycled back to Log. That would help a lot in this situation, and it does come, and the Lumberjack is going to get a ton of damage. Held up by the Ice Golem, but still that main Golem body is really, really healthy, and this Lumberjack is still going, and he might get that trade.
Now he's going to be locked onto by the tower and all the surviving units, but that Rage comes down and lets the Golemites and the Archer behind finish that tower off!
Still, a slightly better trade for Goat because he got a little bit of damage onto the King Tower. Big problem is, in the fact that Goat had to defend that push, there's only 35 seconds left to double elixir time, and I don't know if he can punish with Giant Mega Minion again in this game.
Oh, my first cough or sneeze of the entire Clash Royale North American Open, also making its debut.
Up.
Get this man some tea.
I drank like 4 cups.
Oh no.
No, my struggle.
I got to go pee. All right, so you can't really
not my
punish it right, and the reason why is that, as Rady pointed out, now that you're in double elixir time, it's a lot easier to drop down 8 elixir and still be able to recover quickly to stop the incoming giant. That giant punish didn't do much, and now there's a skeleton army Lumberjack pushing with a full health Golem.
Oh my god. And keep in mind, Darth Jar Jar does have the option for an aggressive drop to assist this push in a very unique way, and he's going to choose the Mega Minion. The King Tower wasn't actually locked onto the Golem, however, and the Mega Minion is not long to live, but still that main Golem made it to the tower, and there's a second one on the floor already, and Goat is still defending the push, meaning that Darth Jar Jar maintains momentum.
Goat's defense there was not very great. He played Lightning and then Log in order to stop it. That's 8 elixir that kind of removes stuff from the field, but not really. Great play by Darth Jar Jar to get another Golem out while the push was still going on, because it didn't really give his opponent a lot of time to counterattack while making use of his surviving defensive cards.
Barbarians operating as you would expect, doing very well to defend against the Golem. But it still seems like Darth Jar Jar has the advantage. Good placement on the tombstone. Notice that both towers are shooting the giant, and it's going to go for the King Tower. And Darth Jar Jar is going to split damage up as best he can. And I think so far Darth Jar Jar's defense and hold on this game in double elixir is concerning for Goat.
Look at that. Lumberjack surviving the lightning just barely, and if he gets hit by a barb or a log, he's going to put the rage effect down, making that Golem move real fast.
Oh, the death damage doesn't quite get there. Another counter log, but one Golemite does make it. And we'll get a tiny teensy bit of damage. And again, Darth Jar Jar plays another Golem. It's just never ending.
He's actually getting further and further ahead in elixir each push. If you look, they're about an even elixir, but there's only 3 on the board, the archers, and then compared to the Golem. So Darth Jar Jar had a good 3 to 4 elixir advantage. It's allowing him just to keep pushing harder and harder each time.
Lightning may have bought a little bit back into this game, and again, these Barbarians are doing so much damage to the Golem, and really I think that's the only thing holding Goat in this game so far.
The inevitability, though, is somewhat favoring the Golem deck. Actually, this is going to be a really good counter push. For the first time, the Barbs have survived and are coming in to exact their revenge on Darth Jar Jar.
A big issue is that the Mega Minion got eliminated just because it was walking ahead of the Giant.
Oh no.
Gonna allow Darth Jar Jar to mitigate a lot of the damage that he's getting, but I do expect nice aggressive drop on the Lumberjack means that he can take down that tombstone much quicker. That Golem gets closer to the tower but doesn't quite get the death damage done.
They're getting like 200 to 300 damage every push. And actually, only that last push was the first time did any real damage get onto Darth Jar Jar's tower. It's really up to Goat to make something happen in these counterattacks.
Tombstone on the right. He's going to pull the Giant into the King Tower, I believe. No, it still goes for the Crown Tower, but the Giant is going to... Oh, there is lightning in the deck. Darth Jar Jar has this in the bag. I don't think there is a way for Goat to actually do 1690 damage in the time that it'll take Darth Jar Jar to cycle to lightning.
Going for it.
He's never gonna leave himself open with an 8 elixir Golem anymore. He's just cycling as fast as possible to finish him off.
Yep.
Here it is. Looks like it might be in his hand now.
It's the log.
He's just logging it. He's just gonna no lightning. Let's just go for log. Darth Jar Jar picking up that first game there. 2 crowns. Into overtime.
Really appreciate today Darth Jar Jar's capability of hanging in there and losing a tower, but understanding that, hey, there is a way. That's just how the trade is going to be, right? There is actually a way that I can trade back. I mean, 8 elixir for Giant Mega Minion, and especially the way that Darth Jar Jar defended it, letting the Mega Minion tag onto the tower, dropping your own Mega Minion and then taking it out, means that now you have a full health Mega Minion helping you, right? So essentially, 8 elixir, the Giant and the Mega Minion are not actually removing troops off the board, makes your Golem push now all of a sudden be Golem plus Mega Minion.
Yeah, much better.
Yes, plus archers.
Well, strategically, I think Darth Jar Jar is probably thrilled that he got a win with his Golem deck first, because he's far more comfortable with the Three Musketeers deck of his own creation, because not only is it his preferred archetype and strategy, but I guarantee that Goat doesn't have a lot of experience playing against
That's a good
this
point.
list, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the best advantages of playing off-meta decks is that you know the matchups. I know exactly what the Golem deck has in it for the most part, but they don't really know how to adapt against your deck.
One of the things we talked about against there is Goat, again, going against Darth Jar Jar, getting that early tower, and then we were saying against Golem decks, you just gotta defend. Like, you just gotta play defensive until at overtime, boom, you win. Where did that kind of start slipping away for Goat?
Not having Inferno Tower
did
kind of come back to bite him, because as you noticed, even though he was defending those pushes well enough, they were slowly but surely getting 200 damage, 300 damage, 200 damage, and finally it wore it down enough that it was just within spell cycle range and you didn't even have to attack anymore.
Ooh, unfortunate for Goat. The Musketeer did actually lock onto the tower, and so he will actually get that counter trade and makes the game even again. There's the Collector.
Does have a zap.
Oh, nice.
Darth Jar Jar's deck only, though, in a world where people are running 2 to 3 spells, only 1 in this deck.
Oh my god, perfect Iceman. Yes. I can't believe Darth Jar Jar still has that skill set. Something that you needed to do very commonly in the previous meta. Place your Ice Spirit just at the right time so that once the Miner pops up, the Miner takes 1 swing on the Ice Spirit, doesn't kill the Ice Spirit, and then the Ice Spirit jumps on it. Actually, is a maximum mitigation of damage to the Elixir Collector.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
You learn to stop miners once. Oh, he's going to pull the Mega Minion. Great micro right there. Pulls it away from the Giant that doesn't want to get attacked.
That spacing is immaculate. Actually drops the 3 Musketeers into it. Oh, don't get too close to the Ice Golem. Don't get too close.
Oh, the one did. But that's okay. Does he have Zap again to reset? He does. Use Zap to reset it.
That means he won't have Zap for a Goblin Barrel, though.
Oh, good call. Or even the Skeleton Army getting some damage in there.
Yes, this could be a very dangerous push, and here it comes. How are you going to stop this, Darth Jar Jar? One Musketeer in the back.
Tournament cap Musketeers, I believe, one-shot goblins.
Yes.
So the nice thing is that unlike archers, which actually I believe the 2 shots fall just short and they have to kind of scramble a little bit to get some damage in there, Musketeer just pop, 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 wipes them out.
Here comes a relatively strong push. Is Darth Jar Jar going to commit the zap again? Ooh, Musketeer gets 1 shot on the tower. Skeleton Army jostles it out of the way, retargets the Musketeer onto a skeleton, and so fairly good.
Looking at for future exchanges, Darth Jar Jar might not want to even waste the time. Oh no, the Skeleton Army's going to do a bunch of damage!
Whoa!
A little late for the Ice Golem, unfortunately. What he might want to do is actually just ignore the Inferno Tower and not zap it, instead zap the Skeleton Army around him.
Yes.
Because that Musketeer, because of the far placement of the Inferno Tower, had locked onto the tower. If you zap the Skeleton Army, you might just get more damage out of the Musketeer than you would out of the Giant that's going to die anyways.
Yes, use the Giant to clear the way, use the Musketeer to do the damage, and that actually is... Oh, and he zaps the Inferno Tower again.
What are the 2 cards Goat hasn't played?
Here comes Goblin Barrel. Mega Minion to try to defend, Ice Golem to try to push the Goblin out of the way, but it stays on the tower.
It's Fireball and Log.
Here might be a 3 Musketeer drop. No, Darth Jar Jar has committed. No, the Inferno Tower is too far.
Oh, no, Log it. You gotta Fireball it. That actually might be
There's
good
2
enough.
Mega Minions.
He just has to stay alive
7
for
seconds.
7 seconds.
I don't think he can do it.
Just like
zap.
that. Goat coming back, tying it up 1-1 in the semifinals against Darth Jar Jar. We're going into game number 3. Both these players want that $2,000, want that ticket.
Darth Jar Jar only had 1 opportunity to play 3 Musketeers, and it got shut down.
And I think that's the value of these high-tempo, aggressive, minor Goblin Barrel decks, is if that deck never waits till 10 Elixir, then you're not usually going to get chances to play your 3 Musketeers. 3 Musketeers is an archetype that is great against other slow decks. It's a perfect choice now when everyone's just waiting till 10, playing Golem behind the King Tower. Cool, like I have plenty of time to play my Elixir Collectors, to play my 3 Musketeers, but these really fast decks, Hog Riders, Miners, Goblin Barrels, all those kind of cards, if they don't wait, what are you going to do? You're going to let it hit your tower while you save up to 9? You know,
What's the strategy now? What did both of these guys do to try to win?
Well, Goat has to switch to his Giant deck, which is a little bit slower. Cards like Barbarians can be okay, it kind of depends on how they come out. Giant's really kind of weak against Three Musketeers, but saving grace of Goat, he's got Lightning. So Three Musketeers are going to have to come out behind the King Tower, split, walk away. An advantage, though, is that since there's not Miner, the Elixir Collectors
pretty safe.
Might run wild on you, right?
Well, unless Lightning's that.
Yeah, but if you Lightning that, then just play Three Musketeers, right?
Sure.
You can even go something like Ice Golem Three Musketeers all in one lane for a very fast 11 Elixir push once that Lightning comes out of the hand.
So the Three Musketeers might be possibly moving on. Like, they have a chance here.
If anyone can do it, Darth Jar Jar can, but Goat has really impressed me in his first appearance in the Clash Royale North American Open.
We'll see right now. Again, best of 3 tied up 1-1. After this, either Goat or Darth Jar Jar will be moving on. Let us know.
Barbarians. This was a very key card for Goat's defense of Golems, and I think it will be good defense against Giants as well. Still a 5 for 5, and they do insane amounts of damage, and look at how well they tank. Only one of the skeletons actually makes it, but still a lot of pressure being put onto Darth Jar Jar, and that Musketeer is actually going to get injured as well, and another 8 he has to deal with.
This might be a great time for Three Musketeers because... Oh, opts not to. That might be a good time for Three Musketeers simply because his opponent didn't have the Elixir to Lightning, so you could have just dumped him out there and you had at least a good couple seconds to wipe out that push.
Yes, instead he takes a lot of damage on his tower. That Mega Minion is flying ahead of the Giant.
Oh wow, just barely.
The shadows.
That's it.
Oh, but the Archer does lock on during the motions. Let's see though, this Giant might punch
3
away.
swings, I think.
I'm gonna go with 4. 2. 3. Oh, 2. Everyone was wrong.
Sell.
Oh, interesting. He's playing a collector in the face of.
Good luck.
Oh, and I think.
Wow.
Oh, he does jump.
But there's too much for the Mega Minion to clear out.
Oh no, I think that Giant is going to take it out. But keep in mind, with 1:20 to go, entering double Elixir time, that's where the Three Musketeer deck wants to be.
Sure. And Elixir Collector's out, so he's Darth Jar Jar is starting to come back, starting to stabilize from that.
An underrated part of the new and improved, or new and deproved Elixir Collector is that it actually makes 8 Elixir instead of 7 like the old one used to. It costs 6 and produces 8 now, so there's even more Elixir hiding in that pump than it has been in the past.
It's just a little deeper wells.
All right.
Darth Jar Jar trying to find a way to play 3 Musketeers right now, but I don't think he can find the opportunity. Opts to play Mega Minion instead.
There it is.
Start splitting them.
There's the first split. How do you remove all those skeletons on your Giant, though?
Tombstone seems to be like a low-key MVP here. I mean, the Barbs are doing a great job too, but pulling that Giant to the middle and without Darth Jar Jar having something like a log to help support it, it's been pretty tough.
Here comes an Ice Golem Musketeer push on the right side, and Darth Jar Jar almost certainly has cycled to his next set of 3 Musketeers, but he's only got 23 seconds left to make something work.
Go.
And it doesn't look like he's got a big op. Lightning was actually spent.
Lightning was cast.
Go,
this might work.
Push.
Oh, the Giant's gonna tank!
But there's so much damage. I think Barbarian's on top of all of this is the next
log
drop.
as well.
Oh, and the Tombstone to buy as much time as humanly possible.
Oh, there's only 5 seconds!
Darth Jar Jar just going for it, but Goat only had he just gets down to it, but that is all he needed, and it's gonna be Goat moving on to the finals against Lupanji. Congratulations, Darth Jar Jar, so close. And again, I love in these moments where it's not you, it's like all Goat sees, I just gotta play defense. I just gotta play defense right now. His whole strategy out the window. Just gotta defend it against it. Gets down to the final seconds. Congratulations.
How you feeling?
Moving on.
Rainey, how you feeling over there about your predictions?
You know why?
Don't done.
I don't want Rainey's bad predictions to let people forget that the Cleveland Indians blew a 3-1 lead in the World Series. I just like to bring that up.
Oh, wow.
As a Warriors fan, I've had to hear a lot of 3-1 jokes over the summer, so I just like to remind everyone the Cleveland Indians blew a 3-1 lead. So what you did, not
bad.
so
not
bad.
Nearly, yeah, perspective, guys.
Terrible.
Perspective. All right, let's pull up our first replay here of that semifinals match.
Goat has been interesting. I mean, I think for both our semifinalists, as well as Goat, really good positioning on minors as well. And I really like the fact that he brought Barbarians to the table and is making it work. He's playing it now in the finals. Goat has impressed just because he seems to have very good line of play.
Yeah, I mean, ironically, a deck with 4 Musketeers and a Mega Minion really struggled to stop that Giant over and over again, and his Giants were not nearly as effective against the Tombstone. That's really unfortunate. The story of Darth Jar Jar's competitive career is one of consistently falling just short. Never won a Super Magical Cup, but finished second multiple times. Finished second at the Super Magical Cup Season 2 Championships.
Oh, wow.
Falling to C. McHugh in the finals. After being up, I think, in the first game, no less, too. He's made, I believe, the finals here before. Top 4 today. At the King's Cup, he was number 1 in the final heat for the first, 35, 40 minutes and finished, I think, 10th when the top 8 made the cut. So,
Has there been a consistent mistake? Something he needs to work on?
I mean, like other players like Woody, he's really committed to the Three Musketeers archetype, so his performances are always sort of tied to how good Three Musketeers are at any given time.
Sure.
But I think that if you're watching at home and you're like me, you like to see these underdogs just finally break through. It's going to be one of those things where when he does take home a big title, there's going to be a crowd cheering behind it. Yeah.
It's also like the most amazing lore in Star Wars history. If you guys aren't familiar with it, go over on the internet and check it out because it's a fascinating story. Darth Jar Jar.
Don't spoil Rogue One now.
Yeah, congratulations for making it this far. Oh no! Oh, sorry, chat. Congratulations for making this far, but you are not going on to the finals. It's going to be GOAT versus Lupanji. It's the night of newness here.
Yeah.
The night of our 2 new players in the Clash Royale North American Open making it all the way to the finals. Again, one step closer to $2,000 and that title. But again, if you guys are like, oh, Darth Jar Jar, oh no, we're never going to see you again. That's not true. You guys do have the chance. After tonight, we have 5 more Coronation days. Tomorrow, Thursday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then Sunday, Monday, and Wednesdays, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then finally, the 17th is our final one, Thursday at 8 o'clock. So, again, 5 more chances for Darth Jar Jar to show up and finally claim a victory, as he so much deserves.
Yes, but we have this final match right now. What is it looking like?
Well, we had 5 repeat performers in the top 8, and out of the 5 repeat performers, none of them make the finals. 2 of the 3 newbies make it.
And Barbs
have made it in their debut.
Finals.
And after Goblin Barrel claiming the first title in our last Coronation Day, we got double Goblin Barrel players. So Goblin Barrel is going to take another title. Is that 3 in a row? Actually, I think we've sold.
Oh wow.
That's
at least 2 in a row.
Brady's just tattooing it on his arm. But here's the 2 decks. So it looks like we're going GOAT as the player to watch. Rainey, go ahead and tell me why.
I think that GOAT has very good decks. He's built great decks for the meta right now. What's going to be interesting to watch is Barbarians are great. They do a ton of damage, but they have short, stubby arms and stupid little swords, and they can't actually hit.
Whoa!
Ouch.
Barbarians, don't listen to that. You are.
They actually can't hit
the
air units.
Sure.
How are you going to deal with a Lava Hound minion deck?
It's a very good point. That deck also has log in it, so you're right.
Yeah.
GOAT's giant deck really needs to play against the minor Three Musketeers deck if he wants to take home like a win with that, because if it gets to a situation where he's got to beat the Lava Hound deck with the giant deck, that could get really ugly. But remember, it's a best of 5 in the finals.
That's right.
So both players will have the option, they have to win 3 games, and they'll have the option to win twice with 1 deck, but they still need to win with both at some point.
Yeah.
We've seen this in the finals before where players really jockey back and forth, often switching decks multiple times within the finals matchup in order to try to gamesmanship their opponent. Yeah.
Mind games everywhere.
And again, Lupanji, though, tonight, kind of his story has been just barely at the final moments, just squeaking by, getting a win, squeaking by, getting a win. We'll see if he can do that here again tonight as we get ready to go into our final match. One of these 2 players is going home with $2,000 and the trip to go to the arena battles. Let us know who you think it is going to be. Will it be Lupanji or will it be GOAT?
To be fair to Lupanji, though, I think he has more 2-0s in the top 8 today than GOAT does. GOAT's been pulling out a lot of close games.
He does.
Oh no, looks like those minions might lock on the tower.
Oh, 2 of them.
An early lead.
So much damage.
Hey, shout out to GOAT, by the way. We mentioned, actually, I believe in the last Coronation Day that nearly all of the players we see are at 4,000 plus trophies.
That's
GOAT
right.
making it all the way to the finals, 3,700, one of the lowest trophy counts we've seen, just proving that your trophy count on the ladder does not determine your competitive
Better
fame.
have a log. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Wow. And they actually take down 600 health of that tower.
No log in the deck, just a zap, but you're right, he probably didn't have it, or he just used it there to save it on the Inferno Tower.
Yep. This Lava Hound is looking menacing. What do you have for anti-air? The Princess shoots infrequently and does only a smidge of damage.
Skeleton Army does a great job distracting all the backline pups, minimizing the amount of damage that the tower would take.
Yes. Will a princess shot kill a pups in one? No.
No, sir. Okay. Princess does a little less than a zap, I believe, and zap does not kill them either.
Okay.
Yes.
Ooh.
They are actually fairly tanky.
Yeah, they're slow, they don't do that much damage, but you're right, they're not as easy to remove as you might think.
Goblin Barrel doing a little bit of chip again, and holding Lupanji on notice.
Reminiscent of an earlier match, all 4 towers have taken kind of significant damage, and it allows both the Goblin, it really lets the Goblin Barrel and the Miner on both sides play to any of the 4 corners of the map. Every tower is somewhat vulnerable.
Are we gonna call a corner
left.
again?
Bottom left.
I'm going with
Bottom left.
bottom left.
I'm gonna take the favorite of top left.
Okay.
I'll do top right.
I think this push right here, this Lava Hound, here we go. Make me proud.
Make me proud.
Oh.
Left.
Come on. Go.
Bottom left.
Oh wow, he split the damage.
Oh.
Really? Both of them.
Bottom left. I mean, that's
You're
less
setting yourself
elixir
up for
to
disappointment,
defend.
though.
Uh-oh.
I mean, what I mean to say is you're setting yourself up for disappointment because only the last hit point matters here. Oh no, the Miner doesn't kill the princess, she lives!
Wow.
Oh, that might change this push dramatically.
Oh shit, Princess could not. Princess back one. Okay. She didn't shoot at all.
Oh.
Defensive tombstones to try to mitigate. Wow, he really does not want that tower to go down, committing the fireball to that, and the tombstone as well. Tombstone's going to convert a little bit, but that fireball is down the drain.
Oh no, they gotta use the Skeleton Army for defense. He has to, wow, he spent
Ooh, there's
really,
no more zap as well.
I think they both spent 7 elixir right there. Skeleton Army plus Fireball on defense to the Minion Horde and Zap on offense.
Now look at that skeleton, or that tombstone there in the bottom left there for Lupanji. That's just to counter Goblin Barrel, right?
And Miner.
Okay.
I mean, it forces, the reason why you always play your tombstones on the outside like that is because it forces the Miner to go inside and it gives them an opportunity to accidentally plant too close so the other tower will shoot. There's only 2 spots on the inside lane of a tower where you can play a Miner and not have it be attacked by the other tower. And so it makes it easier to predict miners when you want to defend them.
All right, well, here we go.
Oh!
Bottom left. We're here in overtime, game number 1 of the finals.
Wow.
Go to Lupanji.
Oh,
An
top
aggressive
right,
lava
top
hound.
right.
Oh, he didn't
Top
place
right.
There's no zap. What do you use zap? You want to save your lava hound? Oh, wow. He plays the fence on his tower, and I think that was probably the right choice.
Because he does have all the little things
Top
in
right,
the air
top right,
surviving.
top right,
Oh no,
top
this might be
right.
it.
Oh, wow, that is.
It's really low. He has to fireball it.
Defensively, but the fireball's coming out. Oh, 55 health. He's looking for that zap, and he just needs to cycle to it. But Mike, there it is. He gets the zap. Ellen killing it. Well done. Top right goes down. We all owe you money.
And you guys have been playing this game way longer than I have.
100% skill.
Boom roasted. The 50-50 coin flip there. UK, hey, UK?
I'm just admiring the...
The large screen.
Oh, God.
I get to look at the large screen the whole time. That's nice. I noticed.
Do you know what the lava pups look like? Because you can't usually see what they look like, but do they have like little faces and stuff?
Are they're blind? They're just like, their eyes don't, that's true.
That's a lot.
They just rebirth into the world, so yeah.
Yeah, and they look like they look like the Lava Hound molted and shrunk. Like they kind of look like a skinless version of the Lava Hound,
like
but not
all-
in a gross way. Just
In a
like,
really beautiful way.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
gross
Because
at all.
birth is beautiful.
The way you just described it.
like a crab that lost his shell.
Super beautiful. The most beautiful thing I've ever probably
You
seen.
know, anyone? No, all right.
No, not at all. All right, there we go. So the first game going over very beautifully to Lupanji there, finishing off the zap.
That may not be the last we see of that deck either, because he could theoretically win with it another time if he wants to. It'll be interesting to see whether he wants to stick with it or change.
Yeah. So far, what do you think is his most comfortable deck? I know obviously we see the 3 Musketeers on the side of Dark Jar Jar, like that's his go-to. I don't want to see Lupanji here once tonight. What do you think is his kind of favorite deck? Which one does he play a little bit better with?
What's interesting is that I feel like you can often tell when players are running relatively similar decks because they show bias towards a playstyle. They build their best deck with that playstyle, and then they try to transfer their skills with that archetype by making another deck that is alternate or suboptimal.
Just kind of subbing in some.
So it's very obvious to see that, oh, this is their primary deck, then the one they put a lot of work into, and this is kind of their attempt at transferring that. I think for Lupanji and Goat, their decks are so different that it almost seems like I'm not really sure. It feels like they're adaptable players rather than looking to expertly play one of their decks.
Right. The cards that Lupanji is duplicating is Miner, Mega Minion, Zap, and then he actually has minions in one deck and minion horde in the. Or I'm sorry, no, he's got minion. Never mind, sorry. But he likes Mega Minion and Miner in both decks. He's definitely going to play that sort of Miner style. In one deck, it's meant to support the Lava Hound, and the other deck, it's meant to support the Three Musketeers. It's hard to say which deck he's opening with now. Goat stays with the Goblin Barrel deck.
Ooh.
Will Princess only say Bullseye if she hits something?
I think the Princess just says stuff.
Bullseye.
She just says stuff.
I think only when she's cast, right?
Yeah, when she.
No,
She also like laughs at stuff.
Real talkative.
She kind of has an attitude.
I thought I heard her once when she killed something. She's like, got it.
Oh yeah, you know maybe she's like that because I know that Bowler now has multiple text voice
Multiple
lines.
lines, yeah.
That I wonder if some of the legendaries also have a couple lines.
Yeah, the Princess definitely does. Yeah.
Those skeletons, because the Inferno Tower starts at such low damage, the skeletons are getting time to actually walk up
And
stab it just a little bit, which is good because now this Lava Hound. Well, I think I would have played the Lava Hound a little further back to buy a little bit more time.
Oh, but there's
Because-
more skeletons.
Yeah, but I still think you'd rather just have that Inferno Tower time out instead of actually wind up on some.
Oh, wow!
What do I know?
It did
It's
tag.
a little bit of damage.
Wow, that yeah. Let's see the level all here I thought.
So should I go with top right again, you guys?
I think it's gonna be a 3
Keep
crown.
gambling.
3 crown.
I feel like the words I speak today are cursed. So pick something that I don't say. Wow, Princess actually makes it to the tower. No minions to play?
Bullseye.
Interesting. Wow. Okay.
Oh, so a good adaptation there. The minion horde went down the left side. Once it got Fireball, decided to be a little more aggressive coming down the right side with the miner to support the defensive Mega Minion. And just like that, the towers are almost tied up again.
Very toe-to-toe. Here's the first one of the game. Goodbye.
Oh no. But with Zap used on the Goblin Barrel, what are you going to do about the Skeleton Army?
Oh, minions are a good choice. Plus, the Tombstone will pop and actually face the Skeleton Army quite well. There's a lot of small, chumpy troops in Lupanji's deck that is really keeping this Zap bait deck under control.
Ooh, and that Princess almost single-handedly stopped that push. The Fireball helped. The Miner comes in to take her off the board, but at that point, all of those little swarmy troops were already dead from either spells or Princess shots.
Again, threatening Zap, and the Miner is here, but not necessarily close. But due to the fact that minions exist and the Tombstone exists, it's not a good enough Zap bait, I think.
Yeah, between the Tombstone and all the defensive air units, the Goat's Miners aren't actually being that effective. He cast a Miner and a Zap and only got 130 damage on the tower.
I really think that he should look into combining Fireball. He needs to justify a time to Fireball units and the tower. There's so much that has clumped up in front of that tower. For example, the Mega Minion and the minions and the Tombstone. I think that if he can be quick, take a risk even, and maybe try to read the opponent and make a Fireball of huge value, he would have already threatened spell cycle range at this point.
I was asked, what is stopping Goat from his spell cycling immediately? Is he afraid of?
I think he's going to
He
do that
really
now.
doesn't. He really doesn't want to get punished by a minion horde miner drop.
Fireball Zap, though, is the name of the game right now. MVP of this game has to be Princess, right? I mean,
Yes.
when you're playing a Zap bait deck, a deck that is looking to run your opponent out of cards like arrows and Fireball.
Just like that, the Mega Minion! Goat not calculating for that. He dropped the log thinking it was going to be enough, but Lupanji takes the win.
He keeps getting away with
In the
it!
final seconds, this is this man's game. He just knows how to just get it right down to the wire. And then boom! Taking it out. Lupanji 2-0 right now
What?
against
How did I
Goat.
just-
One game away from $2,000.
What just?
He's
How did he?
He's a dastardly fellow. He's a thief. He's a thief in the night coming to steal your tower. No, I just can't. Right, like he was dead, right? He was dead
was
to
so
the next
dead.
Fireball.
He lost. I
log.
can't
The
believe
log that
it's
was
not
rolling
his
in was
to
killing
win.
him.
That entire time, Goat's Princess was just ruining that deck. Like, was killing all the minions, was making it really hard to get through any of those sort of shots.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, who would have thought that it came down to a log moving too slow to finish the tower off?
Yeah. All right. Well,
Wow.
now we're one more game away potentially. If Lupanji can take this next one, he is the winner. It
How
is
does he-
all up to Goat.
How does he take it?
Well, he's switching now to the Three Musketeers
Right.
deck, which he hasn't been playing. He just won 2 games with the Lava Hound deck, which I guess answers the question. That's his preferred deck. So he's going to be playing this kind of oddball Zap bait, deck with Three Musketeers in it assuming Goat stays on the same deck.
Would you bring the same deck if you're Goat?
Well, One of his decks has Fireball, one deck has Lightning, so at least both are relatively equipped.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I'd probably stick with this because if he wants to split Musketeers far away, you've got things like Princess again to just like weaken them before they cross the river. I don't know if you're just going to want to walk Giants and Ice Golems into 3 Musketeers, but who knows? Goat did just beat a 3 Musketeers deck in Darth Jar Jar to get here, so
good point.
maybe he switches.
Good point. Rainey, what about you? What do you think?
I think I need a vomit. I need a that game was too close.
Yeah, because it was so sick.
It was too close. I think
So many
that
dad jokes.
I don't think I can deal with any more of us being sick.
Tag.
Let's just stick with.
Tag, you're pregnant. All right, guys, here it is.
Oh my god.
Game potentially
Make it stop.
and match here. If Lupanji can take this will be his 3-0. It's up to Goat to come back. We've seen it happen. We've seen someone come back and win 3 games in a row, so he's not out of the woods yet.
That was a very stylish. We talk about the gentleman's agreement sometimes where you open with both elixir collectors and just nod your head to each other. Both of them threw a goblin barrel and had it countered for 2 elixir, and they thumbed each other up.
Good answer.
Good play, sir.
Good play. Good show. Oh, wow. That's those are the times in my life where I'm like, are you sure that it works out that way? Because I think that Mega Minion could have.
Oh, the Mega Minion, though, survived just enough to kill the princess. Huge advantage. That seems like a very minor thing, but think about that. That was 3 elixir that just got removed from the board that otherwise Lupanji would have to commit some extra elixir to kill, and instead, he can go to 10 pretty comfortably.
And he gets 2 princess shots for it, maybe a 3rd.
Oh, wow, that's really good. I mean, that's 420 damage, I believe, for only 3 elixir, which is a good,
a big fireball.
good trade for sure. And that fireball, yes, obviously very, very unfortunate.
That was something that I think Ghost should have started doing much earlier in the game. Playing minor fireball or minor goblin barrel fireball, some combination of that really hurt him.
I think the problem is you can't really put fireball out of your hand unless you want to get killed by 3 Musketeers. He's got to really hold those fireballs for 3 Musketeers, and not just hold the fireball, but start to get a feel of the game for when those 3 Musketeers are going to come out, and maybe even like pre-fire it. Because if you play 3 Musketeers and it just sits there for a beat or 2, they're going to do a lot of damage. You almost have to be like, aha, he's saving up. I know that he's going to play these things now, and get ready for that fireball.
Go give it a little oops there. It seems like he's being a little maybe too cautious with that log. The Goblin Bear did get a stab.
Not the ideal choice. And the
Ice Golem protects.
Oh wow, Princess lives.
Skeleton army for the Goblin Barrel.
But he got what he wanted, which is no damage on the tower. That's what Goat was aiming for. It's just good defense there.
Ooh, he needs to log the Goblin Barrel and possibly the Skeleton army at the same time.
Oh,
Another stab.
yeah, it was a slow log. He had the elixir for it. He may just not have had the card in his hand. He had to play Skeleton Army or something to cycle first, because they did get 1 round of stabs in.
Oh, here's a push.
Princess did lock onto the Chumpy troops though.
With
But the
minor
Goblin
log-
Barrel to assist.
Oh, wow.
Log's out of hand.
Oh, and the zap buys a little more time.
Wow.
Lupanji is playing
That's
out of
zap
his
range.
mind.
You know, I think Lupanji might be, I don't know if he's our first Canadian winner, but I think he might be our first French-Canadian winner if he can pull this game off.
Wow. All right, fireball going in. Looks like Goat is trying everything that he possibly can. That's a tower down. 5 more seconds.
you
Goat
better
has to
go,
take
you
him
better
down.
go, you better
Oh,
go.
Log's going to do it.
There's
Can
no
he get the fireball? No. Match is over, and Lupanji
Oh, my
just like that.
Wow.
3-0 Goat in the finals. First time here at the Clash Royale North American Open, and Coronation number 11 is yours, sir.
Second time. The first time we've seen it since Flash did it in the Coronation Day number 3. Flash 3-0'd his
Oh,
opponent.
sorry. Lupanji's first time here.
Oh, first time here. Oh, I'm sorry. That's only our second sweep of the finals.
Yeah,
Yes.
well done. Well played.
Something I really, really liked from Lupanji's decks, actually both of them, was how flexible they were. In that game, 3 Musketeers was played once, and it did not do significant damage to the tower. It wasn't even the tower that ended up, 1 Musketeer made it to the right side tower, the tower that ended up falling was the left side. Lupanji was able to use these decks and say, hey, you have a counter to one of the cards in my deck, 3 Musketeers. Well, good thing that it is a linchpin in the deck, but not the linchpin in the deck, and still play minor, Goblin Barrel, Princess to great success. His Lava Hound deck, there was a game in the round of 8.
He didn't even play
Didn't play a Lava Hound.
Yeah.
Purely played minor and Minion Horde. And he was able to understand, hey, I might get punished by a Hog Rider if I play my Lava Hound, so I'm just going to opt not to do it. Very, very well informed, and definitely one of the most expert players to come through the Coronation days.
Yeah, totally. Well, let's take a look at our first replay of this final match of tonight. I think we got a little Lava Hound action in here.
Yeah, Lava Pups do so well, and The minor too, in addition, means that the synergy is there. Having the tank available, has to spend the fireball to stop the damage on the tower, but
we talk about minor placement all the time. Think about if that minor was back corner instead of front corner, that whole push goes differently. The Mega Minion would actually start killing the swarms. Instead it locked onto the minor, which let them kill the Mega Minion and then lock onto the tower. We see that again. These minor placements are so critical. You don't just throw them sort of randomly on the tower. You have to really think, like, what is my opponent going to do? Do I want it behind the tower? Do I want it in front of the tower?
54 HP.
what close games. And even the last one was, 300 health away? That easily could have been one shot from a something, right? A princess, a something, you know?
Right. Is that, I got a question, is that our first time a Lava Hound deck has won? We've had Lava Hound decks get very close, make the finals. I can't recall if it's the first Lava Hound to win, but it's definitely the first time a Three Musketeers deck has won the Coronation Day. So that's another archetype to hang up on the big wall. Yeah.
We really gotta start
guys.
doing that. Again, just letting people know, like, these are the top players, and that's why we're seeing the meta consistently change, right? When something comes against them, they figure out a way to move past it. We're seeing new decks. All right, just for a quick recap of the day, let's go ahead and pull up the bracket finally here for Coronation number 11. Rainey, Rumham, trace us through this event.
This Coronation Day probably had the most interesting decks. I wouldn't say that they strayed too far from understood archetypes. There was minor cycle, but it was a little bit different than what we had understood before. There were Golem decks, but they were a little different than what we understood before. There were Hog Rider decks that were also a little bit different. Expo makes a no-show once again, and I think that this tournament really demonstrates that these players are starting to finalize their decks, really fine-tune them, and make sure that they plug up any holes, any weaknesses.
Lupanji's running hot here. He lost the very first game of the top 8 to Chief Mystical and then rattled off 7 consecutive wins.
That's right.
Including some of these games with 23 health left on my tower, 34 health left on my tower, etc. to go all the way through and sweep the reverse sweep Chief Mystical, sweep the quarterfinals match or semifinals match, and then sweep the finals.
It's like that first loss just lit the fire.
Yeah.
Like
So
never again.
What's interesting is if you notice, he only had a 77% win rate, so he was actually going 2-1 kind of often
up to
in the early rounds. But as soon as he hit the top 8, just put it into overdrive.
Impressive.
Refused to lose.
Not only is he taking home $2,000 and a chance to go to the crown duels, but he's going to go and live on throughout Clash Royale history.
Forever for internet history.
That was amazing. He's so sneaky. Sneaky guy.
And with innovative decks, I mean, the Lava Hound deck is something that it's known, but there's a lot of ways you can build it, and it's definitely more of a tier 2 archetype. It's not something that consistently dominates, so his flavor of it did really well today. But this other deck is weird and definitely something that we haven't seen a lot of, and really big congrats.
Come at us with your flavor, with your own deck. Go to
us a flavor.
ClashRoyaleOpen.com, sign up. You could be the next Lupanji if you're that awesome.
Yeah, if you're sitting at home watching them going I can do that. I like money. I want to go to Helsinki. You guys can do that. Our next broadcast is tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is Coronation number 12. And then we only have one more week after that. All 16 will be done. And then the arena battles will begin. 8 will move on to the crown duels after that, where one winner takes home $15,000 out of a $100,000 prize pool. And that trip to go to Supercell HQ. Congratulations. All right, final thoughts of the night before we wrap up.
Lupanji, pretty cool. Pretty cool guy.
Pretty cool dude.
Pretty cool dude. I think with Lava Hound, Giant Bowler, Golem, Expo, all of these decks already claiming a Coronation Day victory, we have 5 more Coronations. I'm excited to see if a new archetype evolves and some deck that we have not previously seen breaks out again and wins. It's very possible.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for Coronation number 11. On behalf of everyone here at NGE Studios in Burbank, California, this has been the official Supercell Clash Royale North American Open. That is Rumham and Rainey.
I'm Ella.
Spotter decks are not dead.
Have a most ridiculous night.
Bye. Man, I hope it's